Hi guys, it's Tony Robbins. You're listening to Habits and Hustle. Crush it.
Today on Habits and Hustle, we have the one and only Tony Horton, who is probably one of the most popular fitness icons of all time. He created the most popular fitness program, P90X, also P90X2, P90X3. I mean, I grew up doing this program and it was just a monster. Still, I think one of the most effective programs out there. He now has a new program called The Power of Four that he talks all about in this podcast, and you'll learn about it. It's about fitness. It's about food. It's about mindfulness. Tony also, though, is a really funny guy, and we talk about how he transitioned from being a comic / actor to becoming a trainer in the first place. He trained every single huge rock star on the planet, from Tom Petty to Bruce Springsteen. He has some great stories. He's very engaging. The podcast, I got to tell you, we talked for 6 hours. Okay. But don't worry. I did edit it down, so you won't have to sit there and listen to the whole thing. But like I said, I really enjoyed talking to Tony, obviously. And I hope you really enjoy listening to this podcast. And hopefully you learn a thing or two. I do your tonal workouts, by the way. Yes, I do your tonal workouts, and you're very welcome. When I saw that you were like a trainer for them or a coach for them, I was beyond excited. I was probably I was pressing it so fast and so excitedly, it kind of stalled the machine because, well, I'm a huge fan of your, P90 workouts. But anyway, the point is, I was looking at you. I'm is it really good lighting? I just don't get it. Are you seriously 63 years old?
Yeah. By the way, the check's in the mail. And
I hope so. I hope so after that endorsement. Right?
Here's what's interesting. You're getting me as raw as you can get me, meaning... Before, has the podcast started officially? I'm not sure.
I mean, it wasn't. Listen, I go right. I don't waste any time. I saw you.
I don't know our casual conversation prior, or we're actually in. Either way, I don't care.
I mean, it doesn't. I was just talking because I saw you and I got excited. So it was going to be a prior conversation. But if you're giving me a good nugget of information that you want to share with an audience,
pre-podcast nuggets, I got. During nuggets, post nuggets, so wherever you want to do.
Okay.
Your question is, normally I dye my beard to match my hair color because there's a contrast. So this is my hair. This is there's nothing done here. There's no dye here. You can see there's some gray kicking in here. Very late. My parents had dark hair into their 70s and 80s, so I just got that genetics. But normally I'll dabble in here, but I haven't. This is rawness right here, man. So
that hair color is not dyed?
Not touched. Of course, friends of mine will love to make pretend it is on camera, which completely pisses me off. But whatever, I know who I am, and it's not, and that's me, man. That's all me right there.
Wow.
Well, a lot of it has to do that I walk the walk good. I avoid the sun like the plague. It's like a giant fiery death ball in the sky that ruins my skin. And I used to be as brown I used to be this dark all the time. I was tan. I was in the beds. I was at the beach playing volleyball. I was brown. And then all the problems started kicking in around my late 40s, skin issues and burning off pre-cancers. I was like, I got to cut this out. So I literally 100 SPF, wear a hat. I mean, I avoid the sun. And I work
like a vampire.
Yeah, I'm kind of vampire-like. I never leave the house except for to the car. But yeah, I mean, I work out 5-6 days a week, and I'm a vegan now, which is really helping me a lot. I've been reading the book, James Nestor's book, Breath, and following a lot of that new strategies in there that I'm noticing a dramatic change in my overall health and quality of sleep and energy and lack of inflammation and, whatever. I just, as a 63-year-old, I want to be able to charge into my 90s. And the first 40 years of my life was just, effing off and partying and smoking weed and drinking beer and eating pizza. And and chasing girls and trying to pay the bills, it was not an interesting start. So this second half has got to be, and people rely on me to be slightly ahead of most people my age. And so, yeah, that's where I'm at.
But is this because you haven't aged a day since P90X at all. So is this genetic? How much of it is it genetics? I mean, come on, because I want to get into all of the wellness, all the wellness stuff that you do, like the all your habits, your routines, your recovery, your nutrition. Because if you are a poster child for aging well, I mean, if I've ever seen it, you're also ripped. I see you. Yeah.
No, not bad. Not bad.
Okay. So could we go right into that part and then we can go into all the other path of fitness? Cause this is because I will tell you something, a funny little, not so funny to me, but funny to you. When I was looking at a video of yours last night, and I have an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. And my 8-year-old comes up to me. It's like, who are you watching, mommy? What is this? What is it? And I was like, oh, this guy, blah, 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 Tony Horton, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Dylan, can you believe this guy's 62? I thought you were 62. And he's like, he's like 62. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, you look way older than he is. And I was like, oh my God. And kids don't lie. You know that, right? You know that they don't lie.
You put that kid in a cage.
Right? He went to bed very early without any dessert. So, but I'm saying it's true. Cause what do you, I will get into the fitness part, but I know that you, have you done any surgery? Is it just naturally just taking care of yourself?
Facials. I've had facials, and I have my own skincare line called TH Care, which I use religiously. With pH balance, made in California, and no parabens. Whatever. I mean, I never used to moisturize. I never used to. I use those little granular face scrubs, take the dead skin off. Other than that, I've had one or two, 10, 12, 15 years ago, where you go in and you have, I forget the name of the little laser procedure, the kind of.
Yeah. Face lasers.
Yeah. But I think for me, it's really been more about my diet and my lack of stress and hydration and plant-based diet. I think that has had a greater influence than anything, really. And genetics, yeah. I mean, the hair, I got very lucky there. But a lot of my cousins, I'm not going to name names, they don't look anything like me. I mean, none of them do. They just look a little worn out and tattered and beat up in their 60s. I mean, most of them are grandparents. You know what I mean? Not that there's anything wrong with that. I don't have kids. My wife and I have only been married for 6 years, so I wasn't married for very long most of my life.
Just 6 years? Oh wow! So maybe that's what it is. Kids age you tremendously.
That's what I hear. So I skipped that part.
That's the secret. Just don't have kids, and we're going to look like Tony Horton.
And I'm selfish as can be. I want to do what I want to do at the drop of a hat. My wife and I want to go off to Jackson Hole or go off to Europe or just have some fun or take 2 weeks off. I mean, we're very lucky at this stage of my life, our life, that we can kind of come and go as we please, create products that we want. I've been on several military tours with Armed Forces Entertainment out of the Pentagon and gone to Europe and go to Japan twice and gone to South Korea and just to get to do really cool things. And, it's about the pursuit of happiness, man. And I'm all about that. I was a miserable guy who cut a lot of corners and procrastinated and effed off. And I was always just sort of in a state of malaise and depression, not deep depression, but just, general sadness. And then I just started, most of these books are all personal development books back here, right? So,
what's your favorite book right now? What are you reading right now? What's your favorite book? I'm reading
Breath by James Nestor, which is I've been
you said that.
reading that for 2 months. But I just got Malcolm Gladwell's book, Meeting Strangers, which is not anything I thought of. Somebody gave me that, and I'm into that one. I thought it was about, you meet strangers and you have a great life. No, it's really, the book is really about how a circumstance can go so south so fast because two entities have just completely different views of the world and life, and then they come into each other, whether it's two countries or two people or whatever it is, and then they usually don't have enough wherewithal, during these interactions to be sympathetic and civil. You know what I mean? And
yeah, I know what you mean.
If you're sympathetic and civil and you're a halfway decent listener, and you can see, that's what's happening in our society right now. It's like this.
Yeah.
We just keep doing this, right? Further and further apart. And at some point we're going to have to, turn that around, or I don't know what's going to happen. We're going to end up like Rome if we don't turn things around here soon enough. But
no, it's a crazy time. No, it's a crazy time. And this is a conversation that I have with my friends and my family and everybody all the time. I mean, what's going on is such a divide right now in the country and in the world. And this pandemic doesn't seem to ever end. Like I thought we were kind of like turning a corner there. And here we are, we're back on doing it like this because of the Delta variant. And, I'm very disappointed that you're not at my house right now in my studio doing this podcast. But, this is just, it goes on and on, right?
Yeah, it is really too bad. And I don't want to point fingers. People have their reasons for doing what they're doing. But it just, to me, I got to tread lightly here, of course, is that...
No, you don't.
That's what podcasts are for. To get down and dirty.
Yes.
So that Tony can say things so he loses half of his fan base. That's
right. Don't forget, right, the cancel culture.
Yeah.
You may if you say you like a mango more than an orange, you're going to lose half of your fan base there. Yeah. People are going to jump down your throat.
Mango growers across America, Tony Horton.
What do you mean you don't like almonds? How come you're picking a mango over an almond? How dare you? I'm never buying any product that you've ever been in ever again.
Like people getting fired from their jobs from telling jokes at parties 20 years ago. Mind blowing to me. I tell you,
mind blowing.
My friend Chris Titus, who is not afraid, he's a comedian. I said, dude, you're the last bastion of hope. You and other comedians are the only ones that are allowed to say anything anymore without offending the entire world or getting canceled out or being over woke or whatever else going on.
You know what? Honestly, you're totally right. I think Bill Burr is the only one, in my opinion, that gets away with it a little bit still because he's just so amazing. But he hasn't. And if he ever gets canceled, I'm just throwing in the towel and I'm just moving somewhere completely. I don't know where, but it is.
But I want to say, people do need to sort of, there are certain words you just don't use anymore. Right? You don't use the N word anymore. Of course you don't. Unless you're a complete scumbag, unless you're a complete racist,
Well, of course.
Right? But yeah, you got to be, it's like as I did comedy for 3 years, attempted to.
I know you were a stand-up comic, right?
I'm going to say, it wasn't funny. But you learn a strong lesson there is you got to know your audience, right? You don't do the dick jokes at the convalescent home. You just don't, right? And you don't talk about your 5-year-old on the college circuit. There's just stuff that, you got to learn your audience. And so something.
Right, read the room.
Right? But then, that's what evolution is happening now. It's not like you have to wait eons for that to happen. You need to evolve throughout your lifetime. You need to grow and you need to learn and you need to transform if you want to be able to live in the modern world. I think the pendulum has swung too far on the whole wokeness, cancel culture thing. And I don't know how far it's going to come back. I think it needs to. But at the same time, don't be mean to people. Don't be an asshole. Don't be a hater. Right. Those are things that I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. Those are all good. That's all good behavior. You know what I mean? How about you, instead of just, do you want to, what's the expression when it comes to relationships? Do you want to win or do you want to be happy? You know what I mean? And sometimes we're just always trying to make our point to the extent where we're going to end up with our cortisol levels through the roof and our adrenal glands are fried. We're going to age before our time. I think to myself, all these haters in the world, I wonder how often they meditate.
Right, exactly.
Right, like these protest sides and your side sucks, and now I'm going to go home and meditate. I'm guessing they don't, and so they're gonna burn out and die before others who know how to.
Is it meditate or is it just like having the, being, having your opinion and I have my opinion and having some levity in life, like nothing could be joked about anymore. Everything has, to your point, the pendulum has swung so far that you have to be so conscientious and cautious if you move right, if you do left, if you zig, if you zag, where it's becoming there's no freedom of speech. There's no nothing anymore. It's really a problem, in my opinion. And I talk about this all the time. And like for you, like you were, okay, and we can even talk about this. So you were a stand-up comic, right? And so I'm curious, well, you know, your mom thought you were funny. And by the way, I thought you were funny in all the things I've seen you in. Like, I think part of your, and this is my opinion, and we could talk about your opinion, but because that's why you're on the podcast. But I think part of your success is because you had such a charm and a sense of humor, and you brought it every time like that, which kind of made you unique and stand out versus somebody who's coming in and not able to, you know, resonate and like be funny and kind of like bring some kind of, like I said, levity to like the torture of working out to some people.
Well, no one had done it prior, and I don't think too many people have done it very well since, which is
exactly. Exactly.
Torn labrum. I got to help that hand. I don't know why. I mean, because exercise is really hard, and there's a lot of people out there that are really good at what they do. Whatever, you know, they're kinesiology majors and exercise science folks, and trainers that can really help with rehab. But oh my God, it's quite often, you know, it's such a snooze fest.
Yep.
And you know, we're in the infotainment world. We're in the physiotainment world. It's a term I just made up. But really, like, you know,
trademark it.
How do you get people to work really hard and deal with physical, mental, and emotional pain and keep coming back for more, right? I mean, P90X, we probably should have sold about 500 of those things, and not more than that. We ended up selling several million of them. So, and it was because of several things, right? The set was cool. The casts were relatable. Obviously, the workouts were very effective. The whole muscle confusion made up concept, you know, which is basically periodization training, which is a version of what Jack LaLanne was doing 100 years ago. You know, right. It's just sort of, I modernized it and I added some personality to the thing. And no one had really been able to do that before. Because I was a stand-up comic and I was in Second City, LA, and because I was taking improv classes and scene study classes and doing pantomime at the pier when I was out of money, you know what I mean? Whatever, because I was a street performer. So there was all that I had prior. And then I got into the fitness world because it just made me feel better. It ended up being a much more productive lifestyle for me than just clubbing and drinking and sleeping into 11 o'clock, you know what I mean? And that just took some discipline because you can only live at the poverty line for so long before you want to, you know, pull yourself up by the bootstraps and try something new. And transition's a bear. It is for anybody. I mean, you know, it's not, you know, like, oh, I'm going to quit smoking, I'm going to stop drinking, I'm going to lose 100 pounds, and I'm going to start to meditate. And you've never done that in your life. You know, your success rate is 0 on that. So just doing it, you know, being the tortoise, not the hare. That's the way I did it. I said, okay, this is not working for me anymore. I didn't have a drinking problem. I just drank because everybody else did. But every time I did, I acted like an asshole, and I woke up feeling like crap. You know, I thought to myself, well, why am I doing this then? It just seems I have a personality. I don't have to manufacture one through alcohol for a short period of time to entertain people. How about I just be me and I can drink club soda with a lime in it. No one will know otherwise, right? So that was right. It. For me, it was like, boom. I'm going to try this for 2 weeks. I'm going to try this for 2 months. I'm going to try this for 2 years, whatever, 30-something years later. I haven't had a drop of alcohol since. Can you imagine me with alcohol in me?
I cannot actually.
Run for your lives, all right? There's going to be some nudity and profanity. They're going to happen simultaneously, and that's going to be a problem, all right? So, that was an easy shift. And the diet thing was always, you know, I'm going to be paleo, I'm going to be keto, I'm going to be vegetarian, I'm going to be a flexitarian, a pescatarian. And now I'm just vegan and I freaking love it and it works for me. And I don't miss chicken or beef or fish at all. It wasn't even, I screwed it up twice before. I was eating too many cookies and crackers and chips and things that were vegan, but they were empty, shitty calories. So then I just went, oh, okay, I'm going to eat, have a big old shake. Some point in the day, and then maybe I'll have a smaller one later, and I'll just eat 2 huge meals of plants. And if I'm off the hooch and I'm meditating and I'm sleeping 8 hours, well, all this stuff is going to begin to sort of, I'm just following the rules. And these are general rules that would work for 95% of the people who tried them. Just a lot of people, they try to do all these things too quickly, back to back to back. You know what I mean? And it's just too daunting. And usually they're not getting enough positive response from the people around them. Come on, man, have a beer. Come on, man. You can't have a piece of pizza. Come on, you know what I mean? That peer pressure, family pressure. Oh, what are you, a health nut? You know what I mean? Like, and some people don't know how to go, shut up. You're fat and ugly and you can't get up a set of stairs and you're giving me advice.
Right.
You should probably stop because you're embarrassing yourself. All right. Most people just go, oh, you're right. I'll have a beer. You know what I mean? Like grow a pair and grow up because life is this long. It's like birth, school, work, death. And it goes like that. So you better figure some stuff out so that you can, live the life that you deserve.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way of saying it. I think I heard you say one time something like, there's only two things you can control in life, right? What you put in your mouth, what you eat, and how much physical work and activity you do. Mm-hmm. Right? Go ahead.
Oh, there's a question in there.
No, there is. Well, actually,
yeah.
I have
There is a question in there. Absolutely. I mean, can you control the traffic or your family or weather or your boss no, man. But you can control how you feel and how you function. And that usually has to do with your physical activity and what you put in your mouth. Jack LaLanne said years ago, you are what you eat, and you truly are, right? So if you're eating, like you're gonna go down to Mexico and put some 32 octane gas in your Ferrari. No, man, this is your Ferrari right here. This is your racehorse. Okay, this is it. You're gonna I got a racehorse. I'm gonna give it some triple cheese chimichangas. No, you're not. You're gonna give that horse, because that thing could be a winner, and it could be, this avenue of success for you. So you get the best trainer and you get the best nutrition, and you treat that, do that. And we don't do that to ourselves. Like we treat our cars and animals better than we do ourselves. It's insane because, we have addictions and we have vices and we have bad influences and we have crappy upbringings and friends that don't look out for us. You know what I mean? People are trying to, and we don't have the right people around us. Like, one of the things I talk about a lot is, who's in your tribe. I talk about it in my book, The Big Picture. You got at some point in your life, I've gotten pretty good at making people go away. You know what I mean? Hey man, looks like you got a different plan right now. You're kind of, you're drinking and driving. Sorry. You got to get that cleaned up. And you're not showing up. You say you're showing up to work. You say you're going to come to the workouts, but you don't come. So there's pretty clear, drinking, driving, not coming to workouts. Go get your shit together. And when it's together, you give me a call and you're back in the Tony Horton world. All right. So lack of consistency, lack of purpose, lousy attitude, no terrible mindset, no mindfulness practice, eating like, you're trying to kill yourself. Lack of activity. Why would I want you in my life? Because you are like, why don't I just put an anchor around my neck and throw myself into the Pacific with you around my no. So, it's and then you got to go searching for the badasses. You got to go find them. They're out there. They're everywhere, right? And you'll know in the first 2 or 3 or 4 meetings whether they're worth keeping around or not. And if they're pretty good for the first year, and hey, you know what? It seems like whatever. Those conversations are hard for people. And by the way, they're your kids. They're your spouse. They're your neighbors. They're your coworkers. They're everywhere. All right. I mean, I can't tell you the people. There was a great story of a gal who did Power 90, which came out before P90X. Her name was Kathy. She was 5'0", weighed 210 pounds, or maybe more than that. And she had tried everything, all the pills, the potions, the quick fixes, and all these things. And saw Power 90 in an infomercial. And her husband was, he was a miserable son of a bitch. When you learn the whole story, why are you doing this thing? You don't even do the diet pills, and you're going to do this 90 days of working out and eating right. And what am I supposed to eat? And and she did it anyway. She fed him the crap food, and she did it. And the first time she did Power 90, couldn't do anything. Couldn't do a push up. Forget about. There's no pull ups in that one, but. I mean, really struggled. But by the 3rd month, she was losing weight, doing pretty good. So she did Power 90 3 times. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Then P90X came out. Impossible. Pull-ups now. And she couldn't do pull-ups. The day I met her, which was about a month after she did her 3rd round of P90X, I'm looking at what I think is a because we hire actual people, we did in those days, actual people who did the program, and fitness models to fill a room, right? I thought she was one of the fitness models. I mean, she looked like a gymnast. She looked like, and then she went up there and cracked out 15 pull-ups. And I went, oh, what's your story? And then she told me, and she showed me her before picture. I mean, what? You know, even with all that bad energy in the house, with her husband just being,
did it
anyway, man. I mean, that was 10 years ago. I would love to know where she is today, but it can happen. I mean, there's a guy I'm doing this new program called The Power of Four. And the 4 is based on food, fitness, supplementation, and mindfulness. The 4 things that are, for me, sort of the foundation, right, of the whole strategy. There's there's layers on that mindset and other things, but that's sort of the main 4. And this one guy, his name is Eric, and he's a scientist, and he's kind of a introvert. And this has been a full pandemic process, right? So pretty early in, I went, all right, what am I going to do? I'm working for Tonal, which and I got my own supplement line, which is great, but people are screaming for something else online. So I came up with this. And 18 months later, this is a completely different human being, not only physically. He showed up at the house here on Sunday, and he was beating the crew at like 4 or 5 exercises. And he'd never done anything, like climbing ropes upside down and going down the pegboard and going through the ninja course. And we had one maximum push-ups in 50 in 1 minute. He smoked us all. It was crazy. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah. And so he wrote me a single line, 3-page letter. And it just I get chills. I get chills just thinking about the transformation in this man's life. And I only met him last week. And for 18 months, he's just following me online and doing what I say. You know what I mean? So you have to have a certain amount of trust and faith and belief in what it is. You know what I mean? If you believe your magic pill is going to work, it might work. I don't know, because belief is huge. It's part of it.
Belief is, but I mean, the amount of lives that you've changed over the years, right? Because that program, P90X, is it still to this day the best-selling fitness program of all time?
Well, I've been with a company for Insanity's up there. I'm sure Beachbody's pushing a lot of Autumn Calabrese's stuff pretty hard.
Yeah, they are. Right now they are.
It's not the best-selling, but it's the best known.
It's the most well-known. Like my mother knows about it. Her friends know about it. Like it's a household name. It's synonymous with fitness. People think about it when they think about, fitness at home fitness programs. Mm-hmm. So how did it come to be? So you were a stand-up comic. You were a struggling actor. You started to work out. You started, really getting into it. How did that become then your career, your path? And how did you then get to P90X?
Well, do you have 45 minutes? I can do it.
I have more than I have 45 hours if you want.
I can do it. I came out to California, 1980, wanted to be an actor, lived on my buddy's sister's floor for the summer. But I noticed something very different about California then than Connecticut, where I grew up, is there were gyms on every corner. People were surfing and skiing and volleyball, and it was a very physical community. And I jumped into a gym pretty quick because I had an agent early on. I got an agent, and then the agent, I took a weightlifting course in college, did really well, built my confidence. My GPA went up. And of course, after that semester, I stopped going to that class, and everything went, more beer, more booze, more burgers. And then by the time I came out here, I had lost a lot of that physique that I had. But I got the agent. They said, get back in there, man, because if you want to work, if you want to get commercials, and I did some modeling early on. So then all of a sudden I just went, okay, I got an agent. This is like I have an agent, so I'll just do what they said. I thought this woman was a god. And so I went to the gym, and I was training this guy, Harlan Goodman, who was a movie producer over at 20th Century Fox. And he was working with a woman by the name of Julia Phillips. Now, Julia Phillips and her husband, John Phillips, produced Close Encounters of the Third Kind, The Sting with Redford and Paul Newman, and Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro. And so I was on the set, I had a pass, and I'm walking around, and I'm feeding the cat, and I'm making the coffee, and I'm delivering the scripts, and I'm picking up stationery, and I'm hiding the pot and whatever from her because she brought it, and do whatever a PA would do. And Harlan was noticing, Harlan, who used to be in the music industry, who had hooked up with Julia when she divorced John anyway. And they couldn't make a movie to save their lives over there. They tried, but I worked for them the whole time. And he was noticing my transition. And so I started training him. He goes, dude, you got to help me because I need to lose the weight. I wasn't a trainer. I wasn't certified. I had no idea. I would just go to the one of 4 gyms that I was a member of back then. Because, gym memberships were like $99 for a year.
For a year, yeah.
Like whatever. So I was a member of Gold's Gym. I was a member of a place called Mesoplex. I was a member of another one that was there was an aerobics gym. It was all women. So I'm going to go in there and join that one. Right. Like I look in the window and go, oh my God, what are they doing in there? It's called aerobics. Really? Can guys go in there? Yeah. Sign me up. Never got paid the whole time. Like they didn't care about me. So he noticed that transition. So I was training my boss in the morning before we both went to work in a buddy's garage. He lost 35 pounds. And then I started training other people like, oh, look what you're doing for Harlan. And then, and I was training these two doctors, this husband and wife team. And then I had about 4 or 5 clients, still a carpenter, still doing pantomime in Vegas at big shows, you know what I mean? Acting as a frozen statue on a buffet table, dressed as a construction worker or an Indian or something, you know what I mean? Getting paid $200 to go to Vegas, of course. Then you just blackjack and gone, and you get the bus on the back of it, and then you're out of money, whatever. I did whatever I could do. But I was becoming a trainer. So I started buying books to figure out if whatever I was doing was right. I was just stealing. I would watch Lou Ferrigno and Arnold Schwarzenegger at World. And I go, how many sets? He's doing like 18 sets of chest. Okay, that seems all right. I'll do that. You know what I mean? Or he's doing legs for like 2 hours. Okay. You know what I mean? And, but I would walk around with these 2 luggage with dumbbells in them, and I go to people's house and we do whatever. And so one day after Harlan left 20th Century Fox and Julia, and so did I, he was walking down the hall of East End Management on Sunset Boulevard. And Tom Petty's walking the other direction, and Tom sees Harlan. He says, hey, Harlan, holy crap, you look great. Tom's from Gainesville. This is my Tom Petty, okay? I trained Tom for 32 years on and off, got him ready for tours. And he said, hey, Harlan, Jesus Christ, you look fantastic. I'm fat, and I'm going on tour, and nobody likes a fat rocker. And so Harlan said, call my buddy Tony Horton. Tony Horton, all right. So Bob calls. Tom calls, and my roommate Bob picks up. Hey, it's Harlan. I mean, shit, I'm screwing up the story. Hey, it's Tom Petty. I'm looking for Tony Horton. And Bob looks at me and goes, dude, I think it's John downstairs screwing around. I go, hang up. It's not. Tom Petty's not calling our apartment here. Tom Petty's not calling 1438 15th Street between Santa Monica and Broadway. So he hangs up, phone call, right back. Hey, got disconnected. This is Tom Petty. Bob goes, dude, I think it's Tom Petty. Hello, JP? No, it's Tom Petty. Dude, it's Tom Petty. Hey, I'm a friend of Harlan Goodman's. I'm going on tour and I'm fat. Nobody likes fat rocker. So I went to his house in Woodland Hills, and gold records and platinum records on the wall, and put out the cigarette right there, before he got busy. And he was as weak as a chicken who had never left the coop, And I had him for 4 months, and I got him a heavy bag, the old Life Cycle. Remember that, the gray?
Yes, I do.
Thing. Got him a bench press and dumbbells from, I would say, like from 5s to 45s, which he didn't. Wow. He didn't use the 25s, 30s, 35s, 40, 45s until the last month. He started with 12-pound dumbbells on a bench press. And the first time I handed it to him, his arms went like this, right? Like, whoa, He had no sense of right, left. And he was beating the crap of that heavy bag. When he got in the Life Cycle the first time, I had to turn it off because level 1 was too hard. It's like I went level 3, no, level 2, no, level 1. I turned it off. Oh yeah, that's better. Like, holy crap, we got some ways to go. But it's amazing what you can do if you're at a guy's house 5 days a week, and I'm getting him.
Yeah.
And 4 months later, he's on tour with sleeveless shirts and vests with he's freaking. I
remember that.
He was jacked, man. And so then, right, mate, my name's Billy Idol. I saw what you did with Petty, mate. Fantastic. So for a while there, I had Billy first, then Tom. Then around the corner was Annie Lennox from the Eurythmics. And then from Annie, I went to Stephen Stills. Couldn't do much for Stephen. Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And then Bruce Springsteen. But I trained his wife, Patti Scalfa, first for a while. And,
you literally trained like every major rock star in the world.
All the rockers from the 70s. I kept them alive, kept them going.
I didn't even know these guys even worked out. Like Billy Idol doesn't even look like they look so skinny. Like Billy Idol looks like very, very skinny, and that he doesn't like they just smoke, do drugs, and drink. Like I had no idea that guy worked out. And he's still to this day. I mean, Beachbody, when I was still with him, did an event. They had our annual summit, and they had him as the entertainment. And I got to introduce him, in front of about 17,000 people. And so I go out there, I just do a little bit, like a 30, and he goes, mate, I can't do a lot of F-bombs. Come out, you got to come back.
Horton here, he told me, because I think he thought that I owned Beachbody, he thought it was me. And he told me I could get as fucked up as I wanted, smoke as much get fucking right. And then as long as I show up every day. And he put on a show. And then halfway through the show, during Rebel Yell, and so I'm at the bottom of the stair at the stage, I get to hang out down there. He goes, come on up. So I'm singing Rebel Yell with Billy Idol in front of 17,000 people. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, I didn't remember all the lyrics, but I had some of them down. But it was just, that was how I got started. And I was also doing stand-up, and I was trying, and I was taking improv. I was with Second City, LA, and I had this Columbo character. I don't know if you know Columbo.
Of course I know Columbo. I loved Columbo.
I could ask you, let me ask you a question. You know what I mean? So I had the coat, I go around, I do this whole bit, right, in the audience. So I got and then I was working with NordicTrack for a while, flying back and forth to Minneapolis. They were out of Minneapolis. So, and then I had a show on the Playboy channel called 360 with not Shannon Tweed, but her sister. She was my co-host. And that was
did you wear clothes?
Yeah, and we were co-hosts of like a Entertainment Tonight.
Oh, like an entertainment,
like they wanted to go legitimate a little bit with some of the programming.
Yeah.
The two of us would do these opening sketches. I mean, they had a decent budget, 3-camera show, teleprompters on all 3 cameras. So between that and going back and the classes, the improv, the comedy, going to Minneapolis, having this show, when it came to be in front of a camera, it was second nature after a while. And so Power 90 was just a kind of a straight thing. Nobody knew about Beachbody. The thing was 10 minutes old. It was 1999, 2000. Hi, everybody. Tony Horton here. We're going to do chest and back.
How did you get to Power 90? So how did you meet Carl and all that stuff?
That story. Here's a lesson in how to behave during times where people are doing this, right? So one of the books I read, I think it was Romancing the Chef. No, I can't remember. It was one of these back here. There was a lesson at the end of every chapter. And the chapter this was about civility and reaching out to others. And that's kind of what the chapter was. So the lesson was go out of your way and do something extraordinary for somebody that you're in conflict with. Forget about doing something nice for your kids or your wife or your parents. Like somebody that's you're pretty sure doesn't like you and you don't like them. Just do something really nice. So I used to play hoop with these lawyers on Saturdays years ago, and they're all lawyers. So there's a lot of arguing. There was a foul, wasn't a foul. Well, you tapped my arm. Like, okay, I'm sitting there, waiting for the argument to end so we can continue playing ball. There's this one guy who was a kind of like the alpha male of this group. His name was Ben Vandebunt, then the lead attorney for a company called Guffey Rinker, which was the biggest infomercial company in the world at that time. This is really before Beachbody existed. And sometimes you pick teams, sometimes, we were on opposite teams sometimes. And we were on the same team. I just wasn't a very good ball player. I couldn't dribble with my left hand. You know what I mean? I didn't know that. I would always stand in all the wrong places. I could hustle though, and I could set picks, which I love doing. But, on this particular day, he and I were on the same team and we won, and he was in good spirits. And he's with his lawyer pals, and I'm hanging out with whatever, just nobody or myself. And he was complaining about his weight. Like, oh, man, if I could get rid of this 30, 35 pounds, this whole basketball thing would be a lot easier for me. And I thought, go out of your way and do something extraordinary or nice or a nice favor to somebody that you're in conflict with. And so I thought, and I had an 8 o'clock or 7:30 slot of a client that I had forever who just stopped or whatever. I can't remember. So I had this open slot. So I thought, I'll go ask him if he'd like to start training with me. Cause I thought he thought I was a real putz, So I went, hi, Ben, it's Tony. I don't know if you know, but I trained Tom Petty. And you're a big shot attorney. You have a big house in Brentwood. And I live in a crap hole of apartment with a view of a convalescent home. You probably want to have nothing to do with me because all your friends are rich and have kids and family. So I don't know. And he looked at me and went, oh yeah, man, don't you train these celebrities? I go, yeah. I go, man, I'd love to. Give me your number. What? And then I thought, okay, he's not going to call me. He called me that afternoon. He said, when can we start? I said, Monday? And I saw him every Monday, Wednesday, Friday for that year. And he lost a bunch of weight, because he was doing stuff that he had never done before. We started every Monday with 500 push-ups. That was our Monday routine. Yeah, we did it together. I go, dude, I'm going to do so many, you do so many. And when 500 was done, we were done. He had never done
That's
that.
all you did?
All we did. It was the Herschel Walker, who used to play for the Cowboys, I think. We did the Herschel Walker routine. And I think Herschel Walker was like 1,500 squats and all these different things. So he just got super fit. And then he interviewed this guy, Carl Deichler, who was out of Philly, who did 8-minute abs. That was his claim to fame. So who's this young whippersnapper who created an infomercial, who doesn't live in Hollywood or New York, who's in Philly, who came up with this 8-minute abs thing? So Ben said, I want you to meet this guy. He's kind of a go-getter, and he's funny, and he's goofy, and he's outrageous, kind of like me. And he brought him to one of the workouts, and he brought him to several workouts. And Carl and I we were thick as thieves, man. We were really good friends. And we would club it, and we worked out hard. Carl's thing was he trained so hard every time he almost threw up every time. I go, dude, you don't have to throw up every time. That's not necessarily a goal. You know what I mean? Goal is to train hard, but it's not like, you're going to break something. And then and Carl was now an employee of Ben's, and Carl was doing infomercials for like pantyhose that don't run and at-home LASIK eye surgery. I made that one up. But Carl was a fitness guy. He was kind of waiting his turn over there. And so he asked Ben, he said, hey, I got to know Tony, and he's, I'd like to hire Tony and my girlfriend at the time's trainer, Debbie Siebers. So Debbie Siebers was the early part of Beachbody. She's come and gone, as have I. But so he just, you and you. And we did this thing where we did some workouts in some gym in Malibu, and we ran out of money, and we did a bunch of them on the beach in Malibu without a permit at like the crack of dawn. Right,
wow.
Cops are coming, clear out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they put that thing out to the world. Actually, that was called Great Body Guaranteed, which was before Power 90. So here we were, nobodies, and this Great Body Guaranteed made money. So you would buy these wild spots. You'd spend like $1,000 here in Poughkeepsie, New York, and you'd spend like $2,000 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you'd buy another one in Portland, Oregon, and you'd you roll the dice and you'd buy those spots, and if you lose your ass night after night and day after day, you're out of money and your project is gone, and you crawl back into your hole and you never work again, or you make another project, and that thing made enough money, and investors are like, whoa, this Great Body Guaranteed worked, because you could have 100 people try to do an infomercial and 2 will succeed,
right,
temporarily, while the other 98 just disappear. That's just the nature of it. It's hard. And so we did this thing, and it worked, and the marketing worked, and then we said, okay, well now we got some money in the coffers. And Carl said, what do you do with Petty and Idle and Steven Stills? And can we do all that? Can we train people that way without treadmills and heavy bags and Versa climbers and benches and, just maybe some dumbbells or something? And I said, yeah, man, it's whatever. We'll do push-ups, and there's no pull-ups for that one. And with bands, we had that band option, which was for people who didn't have dumbbells in the house. They wanted to travel. And Power 90 sold like 3 million copies, and everybody was like, what? And so Ben said to Carl, dude, start your own thing. Do your own thing. We'll rent you a space down the hall. We got plenty of space here. And so Carl hired Ben's roommate from college that had just gotten back from traveling and doing a photo thing. And he was a 5th grade teacher, knew zero about the business. So Carl trained John, and he was a pretty quick learner. And then we did Power 90. And then I didn't have to live in that apartment anymore. I was $60,000 in debt, which seemed like a lot at the time, especially when you don't have any money.
Right.
Two broken down cars. I had to have 2 cars because one would break. One was a 66 Mustang convertible rally sport. Looked really good in the parking lot, but driving to Malibu and then to Culver City and then back to Hollywood, it just couldn't handle all those miles driving from celebrity to celebrity. So I had an 84 white Land Cruiser. It was like they needed to do this to make a left turn. And then, wow, this thing it was a horrible car. But one would break and I'd drive the other one, and that was my life early on. And then the first royalty checks came in from Power 90. And the first one was like $2,000. Whoa, I'm just sitting here, and $2,000 in a mailbox, and then $4,000, and then $8,000, and then, kept doing that.
And then $1 million, and then
I paid off the debt, looked at homes. I was able to go from a crappy little crime-ridden area into a 4-bedroom joint in Brentwood with a view of the Hollywood sign, and you know what I mean, in a little guest house, which I converted into the gym, and lived there for the longest. You know, then I moved there, and I didn't have any furniture. Like you'd walk in every room, and it was like this is the living room. You know, it was just an echo chamber because all the furniture in that apartment was I was a carpenter, so I made crap, and I sold that at a garage sale right when I left. And I think I brought a couch with me. That's all I brought. So a lot of empty rooms. And then we did like, what should we do next? And I thought, well, maybe we should help obese folks because they're struggling. And Carl goes, no, let's make Power 90 harder. So let's just make it extreme. Let's just I want you to spend a whole year doing research. And originally it was going to be 6 routines. And I said, dude, we need more. We need something. We need to be like core synergistics, working on proprioception and core work as opposed to just and then we also need martial arts, something. We picked Kempo. And then we're going to, I thought 12 was like, what are you doing? 12 routines. How are people going to master this? I said, I don't want them to master it. I want them to be confused and looking over their shoulder and going, holy crap. I want people to work on their weaknesses more so than their strengths. So Pilates and yoga people, oh yeah, you got to lift weights now. And you bodybuilders, you got to do cardio and yoga and core work, which you've never done. And so we took all spectrums of the universe and got them to do stuff that they would have never done. And we added the humor and good casting and millions and millions of those. So I was able to put furniture in the house and able to buy a couple nice cars and buy a place in Jackson and live in the dream. And that was a 20-year run. And we did P90X2 and P90X3 and 22-minute hardcore and double time and, tons of projects. And I still get royalties from all those today. So.
Oh my God. So you were there from the absolute beginning. I didn't realize that.
It was Carl, John, me, Debbie Siebers, and this woman, Heather, who was their secretary. We're five. I was never an employee. I was always a hired gun. And so was Debbie. But it was like they were in a closet. They were in a tiny little room and they were, and they would rent the camera equipment and hire outside people. There was no in-house anything. Now it's all in-house. There's, I don't know, hundreds of employees and there's 2 huge buildings and they just went public. Beachbody did, right?
I know. So you were so you actually created P90X. Like you were actually the creator of it. But Beachbody owned it. So you got the royalty from it because you were like an employee of theirs, basically.
I was a contractor.
An independent contractor
that would come over there and fix lights. I was an outside contractor. But I was part of the community. I had a contract that pretty much didn't allow me to do anything with anybody else. That was partly the reason why I left because, but initially it was me and Debbie, and then it was me and Debbie and Shanti. Then it was me and Debbie and Shanti and Shalene. Then it was me and Debbie and Shalene, right? So all of a sudden I'm sitting around waiting my turn. You know what I mean? And
right.
Okay. And I did that. I did that routine for 20 years. And then other trainers who I thought should be getting as much attention as me, we're getting more time, getting more programs. And I just began to scratch my head and go, something's up here, man. Look, without Beachbody, I'd be living in a van down by the river. You know what I mean?
I don't think so. But you were doing pretty,
that was it. Without them, there's no way. Without me, they wouldn't be who they are either today. So.
No, you put them, I think if anything, you also helped put them on the map. That program, it wouldn't have had the same success if it didn't have the talent behind it because you brought the personality that made that program successful, or else it would have been like every other program out there. But then they started to do all these now they have so many of these trainers on there and I don't even know what the programs are. Like, is it because the times have changed and evolved and there's now so much content everywhere that you just don't hear about it anymore? Or is it that it's more and it's now diluted? Because like besides you and the Insanity program with Sean T, which is another good one, that like I feel like it kind of lost some kind of oomph. Is it just because, like I said, there's just so much out there now? You think?
Partially, I think that's certainly part of it. It is diluted. I mean, you look at Beachbody; they've got I don't know how many trainers.
So many.
And then like Tonal's got. They hire a trainer every half an hour over there.
Yeah, they do. I know. Every half an hour. Exactly.
And a lot of these companies feel like if we saturate our platform with dozens and dozens of trainers, that'll draw more people because different strokes, different folks, right?
Right.
but no one has risen. There hasn't been like that Jack LaLanne figure or Arnold like figure or me or Sean. It
really hasn't. I mean, you have social media people, but I think is the model now not to have a star, just to have a lot of content. And like you said, different strokes for different folks, not to like build like the A team, like Beachbody, you're synonymous. Tony Horton, Beachbody. You know what I mean? Like tonal, I don't know. I mean, is there somebody beside me? Like, that's why I was excited when I had you.
Well, I mean, if you look at tonal, they want more of a generic vibe. And so does Beachbody now. I mean, they try to make Autumn Calabrese sort of the one. And I mean, they're the one they put the most energy in. Nothing against Autumn, but I don't think she good content, stuff for everybody. She's got all kinds of different programs for folks. But that superstar trainer, they're just, it's not the kind of business that generates that type of a personality. It just isn't. I mean, it didn't exist before me, and it doesn't really exist now. I don't go, what am I doing? I'm sorry. You know what I mean? Like, there's not a lot of people who can walk and chew gum at the same time in that industry. It's all about the workout and cheering you on. Yeah, good for you. And yay. And anybody can do that. All right. But nobody can off the cuff, like, top pterodactyl and don't smash your face and whatever, whatever stuff that just, I was an improv guy. So,
that helped that benefit. I mean, listen, all that experience. Have you ever heard this whole thing about borrowed hours? I had this guy on my podcast named James Altucher. Do you know who he is?
No.
He's written like 20 books, and like he has like a whole thing about borrowed hours, that the hours that you've made, like the hours that, for example, you got from your stand up, from your acting, from all the Second City stuff, you can apply those hours to all the fitness stuff that you did for P90 and everything else. In terms of like Malcolm Gladwell has this whole 10,000 hours to be, an expert or whatever. Mm-hmm. But because you had those borrowed hours from all that makes you even, that brings in your expertise to such a higher level that now you're like spectacular, basically, when someone else doesn't have those hours. Does that make sense?
I've never heard that. I haven't heard of him with that term, but that's sort of spot on. I mean, everything I've been able to do is purely based on the thousands of experiences and books and interactions and seminars and workshops and stand-up and improv and all that stuff. You know what I mean? It all very fortunately, they weren't just hobbies that went, that just sort of disappeared in the ether. They were things these are all lessons and activities that allow me to be who I am and be very comfortable in my own skin and be able to think quick off the top of my head and that kind of stuff. And what I wanted to have, I mean, we have these things at the house called the Paragon Experience, and we're having our 7th and maybe final one here in October. And it's anywhere between 24 and 30 people, and they come in from around the world. We had a couple come in from Kuwait, which was kind of amazing.
Wow.
Abdullah, who's become a good friend, and his wife Miriam are just wonderful people. And usually around the States, they come in from everywhere. And those seminars are about, you're tougher than you think. And we bring in experts. We're trying to get Sanjay Gupta to come in. We don't know if we're able to get him or not, but we get some, we get Brendan Brazier, who created Vega, and Eric Stolhansky, who was in the Ply Routine, who's in Super Troopers and all these different kind of movies. Maybe we'll get my friend Tony Curran, just to get some really interesting folks. So there's workshops and seminars and competitions on the obstacle course, and it really this really takes the average person and it exposes them to new and higher levels of stuff that they're already doing, but they're kind of plateauing and they want to know more, and which is great. We love doing those, but the seminar that I want to do is to take trainers, people who are already fit, who know the industry, and really, really teach them how to improve. Elevate their abilities, I guess, best way to put it. And so like one of the simple things would be give them anything like plumbing or Cirque du Soleil or how to chop down a tree or just random crazy thing, and get up and talk about the key to cutting down a tree without just look, and then get up there and blow our minds. You know what I mean? Or to sing a song, or to do a poem, or tell a joke, whatever, tell a story. And those are things that I used to do. I mean, I was a C- student with a speech impediment called cluttering. I couldn't put two words together without stuttering and stammering and being overly conscious. And so we moved. I was an Army brat, and I moved 7 times before 5th grade. And so you're a kid with a speech impediment who moves around. So I get to get my nuts busted 7 times before 5th grade. Yeah, I'm surprised, I'm not in a home. But that's just my story. And so I used to read anything, newspaper, books, whatever, out loud to a tape recorder. And I would read a paragraph over and over and over again until I didn't stutter or stammer. And so that made it really easy for me to learn how to read a teleprompter or do voiceover copy, because I was practicing borrowed hours early on in my life. I took 2 voiceover classes because I just wasn't very good at it, and that helped me a lot. So I stutter and stammer occasionally still. And whenever I do, I make a joke of it. So that, a little reminder that it's usually because I'm nervous or something, or, you're on stage in front of 26,000 people, you might stutter there, but now, my biggest audience, I think, was around almost 28,000 folks. I just get up there and go, hello, people, let's go to work. Let's have some fun.
Are you doing fitness for 28,000 or are you doing stand-up for 28,000 or a combination?
Fitness. Well, jokes too. Just whatever comes off, it's not like I have any bits ready in my head. I just, I just act silly, and I make people jump and squat and lunge and twist and turn and punch and kick, whatever it is I'm doing up there.
But that's the truth, though. Like, you basically, you kind of like combined both all your skills in one. It just so happens that you're like moving and doing fitness, but you're kind of actually doing stand up. You're presenting. You are performing in that way, which most people it's all about and I'm sure people ask you this all the time, like, how does somebody who's like rising up want to stand out? And it's like, well, you have to be unique. You have to have a niche. That's my opinion anyway. I'm sure you would agree. But all these things that you've done in your life have made you great at what you're doing. And you just kind of took all of it and kind of combined it into this uniqueness.
Yeah. And you're right. There are others that have done pretty well. They're rising to the top, and there is something, really unique about their delivery. It's cueing too. Like you have to, through your words, help, because people they're down in down dog, or they're in some of the positions they can't look at the screen. So I'm always very conscious of, okay, well, you can't see me right now. So here's where my legs are. Here's where my arms are. Here's how I'm breathing. And if you're somebody who can't do what I'm doing, I'm also going to show you a version that's a little bit easier. So it's a stepping stone to getting better. Duh. Yeah, that's how you help people. How many yoga classes and classes I've been into where it's just, they're just flying around. All right, we're going to do the Cabo Salula. Let's go. Right arm, left, kick back. What how about instruction? Are you a coach or just an asshole? Why would I want to take this class again? Because I'm just pissed off. You know what I mean? And so
it's so true. That's the difference between a good class and a bad class is good cueing, right? So you can actually follow along. Right. That's like the secret sauce too, right? Because you're right. If you're downward dog or you're doing a plank and someone's talking to you about what to do and you have no idea, your whole workout's screwed up. It's fucked up already and you can't do anything.
You're a good trainer when you've got 1, 2, 3, or 4 different levels in the room, and everybody's a great workout, and everybody feels like they've got something done. It's, if you're teaching a beginner's class, well, then, there's your basic rudimentary movements, and you talk that way to them. And if you got a bunch of, badasses in the room, you know how to crank them up. But can you, that's the best training for a trainer or a coach or whatever, a mentor is, okay, I got all levels in the room. All right, everybody, here's the movement. Let me show you another one, blah, blah, blah. And you take, you don't want to take an hour trying to explain that because people are standing around going, okay, like hour and a half between moves. You just want to say, here it is, blah, 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 hands, feet, blah, blah. You want to slow it down, decrease the range of motion, make sure you breathe. You want to take a break, stand there, watch everybody else, mock them, throw things at them. Who cares? Let's go. And then all right. And then when you've got people on the stage, just like you do in the video, Sally's here. She's going to turn things down. I want you to eyeball her. All right. Forget about Victor. He's on crack cocaine over here. All right. He's full of methamphetamines. So don't even, he's going to, heart's going to explode. Stay away. Unless you got that going on, then check out Victor. All right. Because you're going to be saturated. All right. Keep it saturated. All right. So whatever. So you got mellow, hardcore, and then I'll scream and yell at you and it'll be fun.
No, that's true. Who do you think is good these days? Like, who do you think is a really good I mean, even though you're like, to your point, there's not anybody who is like a star anymore like that, but who do you think is really good?
I will say, I don't agree with a lot of Shaun T's products. I think Insanity was properly named because if you want your knees to explode, that's the program for you.
Oh, I know. Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, who does like legs 5 days a week? What? But as far as being prepared, being a motivator, being entertaining, being committed to the quality of the work, he's a firebrand, man. He's awesome that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of times it was Beachbody gave him something that maybe, that wasn't necessarily good for other people. And hey, you can get jacked up doing P90X and X2. X2 is probably the hardest fitness program ever created. It's just,
Is it?
Yeah.
I've never done that one.
Get on X2, woman. You're gonna be
All right, down.
P90X2.
I've never even heard of that one. Oh yeah, you're right. P90X. Yeah. You're
doing push-ups on 4 medicine balls. All right.
Who's doing that? Did that one do well?
It didn't do as well, but professional, Olympic, collegiate athletes and coaches would come to me and said, changed my career. I went from being in the cellar, made my team do P90X2. We were number 1 in our division. Like that level. Like my lower back, one guy said to me, my lower back we're going to have plates and pins and boom. I did P90X2, totally rehabbed my lower back. There was a upper and lower post-activation potentiation series in there that was state of the art fitness. And you're doing a push-up on a med ball and your feet on a stability ball. Your feet aren't on the ground. So talk about
stability work, core.
Yeah, core work. That thing was a monster. Levers. You're not just doing a pull-up. You're here, top of a bar, and now you're going, arms are out, and body is parallel to the ground. It took me 4 months to learn how to do one, and I put that in the damn program. Figure it out. And a lot of people never figured it out, but it is.
Did you work with people to help you, like coaches to help you program?
Oh yeah. A lot of it I had known because after P90X, I was evolving anyway. I was spent a lot of time with my friend Chuck Gaylord, who was a 9-time All-American gymnast. His brother Mitch won gold and silver and bronze in '84 Olympics. So whatever, I was hanging around with people, especially I went from Kempo to mixed martial arts. I never got in the ring with anybody because right?
Exactly. Don't want to ruin your beautiful face.
Moneymaker, I don't need to get punched.
Yeah.
I'm a pacifist anyway. So, but yeah, so I added sprawls and elbows and claws and down strikes and all these kind of new, more dramatic movements and things that you'd see in mixed martial arts. And so you're always learning and transforming. I think the reason why a lot of trainers aren't successful is because they're good at Pilates, but nothing else. They're good at yoga, nothing else. They're bodybuilders, but wouldn't know how to put together a cardio program to save their lives. They think plyo and cardio are the same thing, and they're not even close. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're the same. One is HIIT training, and one is just sustained elevated heart rate. There's a difference. You got to know the friggin' difference. And if you're going to introduce people to really difficult, hard things, you got to show levels. You got to show, like in this new program called the Power of 4, we're going to say, hey, some of you are going to power up and some of you are going to power down. And you got to know the difference. And here's what power down looks like. And here's what powering up looks like. And we also put stop options in these hour-long routines. Now, P90X, the Hatha Flow yoga class was 90 minutes. So everybody skipped it. They went for a run or they would stretch and
That's what I did. I didn't do those ones because I didn't like them.
What if you had 2 other specific places where you could call it quits, fast forward to the end or cool down? And so so almost except we have some shorter routines. One's called Cardio 24 and it's 24 minutes. There's no stop option there, but it's start me done. You know what I mean? So that's
yeah. Wait, the Cardio 24 is on the Beachbody, or is that new?
That's all new. That's the brand new. Do I even have the hat here?
Wait, where would put someone like where would I find the Power of, what's it called? Power of 4, right?
Power of 4.
And is it like? Can you describe it? Like, is it like a 3-day program, a 5-day program? Like, describe it how it's different than, let's say, a P90X in the sense that, do I put in where would I find it? Like, where would I do it?
Well, you would have had to been like a Tony Horton fan aficionado on my fan page. Then you would have seen notice after notice after notice, and you would have seen the link to sign up for it. And we got around 2,000, 2,200 people. We were hoping for 5 or 6 or 8, but it actually ended up being the perfect number as far as the test group. They were all paying $29.95 a month. There were 3 betas, and there was a provisional month in between the betas. Meaning, at the beginning of the pandemic, we had masks on. The sound was terrible. The lighting was crap. We shot some of them on a phone. Right? It was beta, man. So there's no bricks and mortar. None of it. There's a pandemic, so you can now watch us with masks on, but you can take yours off in your house. You can still hear us to some degree. At least you can hear me, right? And so
wait, you shot it with masks on?
Yeah. Yep, we did.
Did you shoot it outside?
Inside.
Oh, it was inside. Oh, okay. Why didn't you just get a COVID test before and then separate them?
You couldn't get them, and they weren't reliable. We're talking the first months of the pandemic when nobody knew anything. You couldn't even find masks. Remember those early? It's like we forget.
Yes, I do. Oh my gosh.
Times of COVID that it was, and a lot of them it was just me. You know what I mean? And we just figured, carbon dioxide. Shut up. No, you're not going to. And now everybody's wearing masks. And that argument that was so important to thousands of people is now gone because it was bullshit from the fucking start. Excuse my French. You know what I mean? Like, duh. Yeah. Oh, the earth is flat. Finally, some people know it's round. We're a little planet. And there's other ones, and there's a sun, and it doesn't revolve around us. We revolve it. You know what I mean? It's probably aliens, but we haven't really. You know what I mean? Like, hello. So that's how we shot the dang thing. And it's called beta for a reason, right? It was sloppy and the lighting and the sound was funky, but the movements were there. I mean, it's P90X-esque, but there's a bunch of new routines and new movements and new sequences, and there's silliness everywhere, but it's raw. So you got 3 months of raw, and then we're like, okay, what are we going to do now? We got to add some more workouts. So we had a provisional month. So I made a schedule, month 1, 2, 3, and the schedules were really a mishmash. It wasn't like follow these things the same week. Like P90X was, here they are. Here they are again the second week. Here they are in the third week, and then you get a recovery week. It is all over the place, just like I train at my age. And that was really different for people. Oh, I get to stop here after 20 minutes, even though the routine's an hour long. Oh, okay. But there's a second stop option. Maybe I'll keep going. Maybe I'll go to the end. So we just kind of created some new elements that didn't exist.
That's smart. I've never seen that in a program before.
Yeah. So
I like it.
I mean, I don't know. I'm like the Dr. Jekyll of this stuff. How do you get more people in the fray? How do you get more people successful? Right. That's it. If it's like, why keep doing like my workout this morning, my shoulders and arm, never did that workout before. Never. First time ever. Made it up on the spot.
What did you do?
We did 4 sets of modified pike presses, elevated pike press. So I had a couple of parallettes, had our booty in the air a little bit. And instead of doing a pike press like this, it was half push up, half pike, so that the bars lined up with the collarbones. It was really heavy anterior delt upper pec. So you felt it. It's just a weird. So normally if I could do 50 push-ups, I could barely get 25 of these, purely based on the
angle,
my body and my ass being in there. 4 sets of that. Then we did what did we do second? 4 sets of handstand push-ups, but limited range of motion, so we get more reps. So you kick up to the wall and you're doing little squatty ones. So whatever your maximum rep is, and then locking out and holding for maximum time. 4 sets of that. Never did that before. Not exactly that. What was the third shoulder? I can't remember. So that was 8, and there was 12 more. I can't remember the third one because I just made it up downstairs. And then we did, we lied on the bench, inverted bench, hanging over the top. So here's the top of the bench. Here's my chin, and doing preacher curls like that, so that the weights had to come up on either side of the bench, hanging. Now I'd done that somewhere, but I haven't done it in a while. And then we did some on the tonal. I made up this crazy tonal tricep move where I brought the arms all the way to the top and really close together and put the 2 handles on there, and then did way back, right? So the arms are normally never next to each other. So I did a bunch of extensions, and then we did single arm inverted incline curls. So you're lying on it. You're almost level, and you're doing one at a time. Boom. Which there's more time under tension. That one arm is getting that big stretch. And then we did another tricep move on the tonal that I just made up on the bar. I did close grip, bar, tricep extensions. So just some weird.
Well, you're saying do people just show up whenever? Like this is like a Laird Hamilton thing.
On Sundays, I invite around 12 people to show up here for a 4-hour upper body pegboards, rope, parallel bars, ninja course, fingertip pull-ups, handstand push-ups, bear crawls, nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Did you say 4 hours?
Well, it's 4 hours because it's not four. Four is if all 12 show up, because only 1 or 2 people can do an exercise at a time, and the rest of them are going like, And so you're maxing out. You're doing like one of the opening moves is 25-foot rope, no feet. If you can use your feet, you use it. Maximum pull-ups at the bar at the top, and then no feet coming down. That's just one. Most people can't get halfway up the rope if they're done. You know what I mean? They can do 10 right? So I just say, hey, do what you can do. Do your best, forget the rest, man. So get up the rope, and then we'll do one's called dip, walk, dip. So I have parallel bars in the backyard. So you do maximum dips on once or whatever. You pick a number, it has to be whatever your number. And then you go walk down the parallel bars on your arms, right? You have to do the same number of dips on the other side. Then you walk backwards, which is hard. And then you have to do that same number there. So let's say it's 8 dips, walk, 8 dips, walk, 8 dips. Most people get up there, can't do a dip. So they're
no kidding. I mean, who do you have coming over? They all levels of fitness then, like all different people?
There's the people who some of them are pretty fit and they show up on a Sunday and they can't do anything. They just like, oh, wow, I've had bodybuilders here who can lift a house who can't do any of the exercises that we do here.
These are hard. These are like hard, what you're saying. These are not easy exercises.
You're not doing bench press anymore. You're not doing tricep extensions anymore. You're not doing push-ups anymore. You're not doing like the stuff you do in your house. This is skill-based athletic training where you're using primary, secondary, tertiary, and eyebrows to get through the damn move. You know what I mean? These are exercises that take weeks and months to learn how to do a rep, right? And so this one guy, Andrew, who is an overweight character actor, shouldn't have, like, what are you doing here? And then he couldn't do anything. And then he came again, and 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 again. And he's doing my programs, doing P90X and X3 and blah, blah, blah. And now last week, he's like this. He's 6'3". He's this lean, striated, sinewy monster, right? It's crazy. The more you do, the better you get. And if you're not good at something at the beginning, perfect. Keep going. Keep going. You want to be that there's a lot ahead of you when you're horrible at something when you start. Like bowling. What if you bowl and you bowl an 80, right? What if you bowled like 5 times a week and you had an instructor, you learned the stat? You'd be a good bowler. Like, a bad bowler, because you never do it, right?
Yes.
Why are you good at eating? Because you do it all day long, every single day. Why are you good at paying your bills? Because you like a roof over your house. So you pay those bills and you go to work and you do that all the time. All the time. Everybody's doing all the things that they need to do all the time so that they can survive. But the thrivers, the people who are living large and taking charge and find the pursuit of happiness, right? They are next level. Food, fitness, mindfulness, taking the right supplements, keeping their cortisol levels down, little meditation, right? It's like their shit is so together, it's not about them anymore. Personal development is really about figure out how not to be a bonehead and a loser and a liar and a procrastinator and a douchebag. Like, get rid of that guy or gal and then go do other stuff that's hard, that's going to take some time, which is transitional, so you can go kick ass, right? And so now when you're kicking ass, it's not about you anymore. It's about what can I do based on my expertise and my adventure on this planet so I can share that with others who can have what I have. That's, boom, that's right here. That's bottom of the 9th. Bases are loaded. And that ball's coming in slow motion. You're going to hit that ball so hard out of the park, it's going to go over, it's going to land in the water, and they're going to have to find it 20,000 leagues under the sea. That's life if you're willing to get out of this survival mode, work and eating, drinking, watching the ball game, potato chips on your shirt, like sad. Why am I sad? Because because your life sucks. That's right, because you're afraid. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, let's go. Let's go. We got a place to go. People need things to do. Because here's life: birth, school, work, death. Oh, look at him. Oh, he died at 62. Huh. And his whole life was a joke. Bummer. That ain't gonna be me. Sorry. Mm-mm.
This is that you just made me the greatest teaser, by the way. That whole diatribe. So look, that is like perfect.
You're welcome.
That's amazing. You should be putting that on your Facebook page or whatever you have there, because
it's for you. It's just for you and nobody else.
That was amazing. But by the way, why are you doing upper body and not lower body on Sunday?
Lower body's on Wednesday. When you come here on a Wednesday and you think you're going to walk on a Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, forget about it, because you're not. You're going to use your body weight, and you're going to go north, and you're going to go south, and you're going to go east, and you're going to go west. And it's plyo, and it's just you and me and whoever else show. I invite 25, 30 people to plyo. You know how many show up last week? 2. You know why? Because it's a monster. It's a monster. And when you know you haven't done it week after week after week, I mean, we do 180, we do 180-degree jumping, flying plyo jumps and things. And, and so you modify, you don't go as deep, you do less reps. But you get caught. What happens to people is they get caught up in the collective energy of everybody who's been doing it I've been doing some version of this routine for 17 years on Wednesday night. And you come in cold, right? And you see what the hell we're doing. How many? 50 reps of that? Are you freaking 60 reps? 100 reps of that? What is that? Hello, look at this. I haven't lifted weights with my legs in 35 years. That's my leg, right?
No way.
Wait a minute. The lighting's terrible in here.
I see it anyway. I see the striations. Yeah. By the way, I saw your legs on tonal. I see that you're very muscular. You don't even have to brag again here. It's very obvious.
Well, I'm 63, very insecure, and I have a huge ego. And most of what I do is based in fear. So that combination makes me want to stand up and show you my.
No, I saw them. I like, and by the way, you have done weights because you do the tonal weights when you do the video, because I have to follow along and do your goblet squat and do all these other things that you do.
Yeah.
But you do basics.
What's that?
You do basics on tonal.
Yeah. I mean, I do those on tonal because those programs require that. And that's for the tonal audience. But for me at home, I don't use the tonal or dumbbells at all for my legs. I don't.
That's amazing. Hold on a second. So what time on Wednesdays? When can I come over for the lower body?
5:30 Wednesday nights. We'll be doing it.
Okay. Am I allowed to go? Like, if I like it, can I go again?
Well, we have to get to see if we like you.
Oh, so if I don't like jive with the group, then I won't be invited back.
I think you'll jive. I got a feeling about you.
I mean, this is like next level. So you go for 4 hours on a Wednesday and 4 hours on a Sunday?
No, 4 Sunday. Sunday's an anomaly. It's just
okay.
It's just a fitness fest. You know what I mean? And we all gather. We get here at 9:00, and we just and I have a grease board, and every week I come up with a new sequence, and I try to come up with new movements. I'll just sit and I'll go, okay, what if we do bear crawls down the side stairs backwards with 2 push-ups on every stair? Yeah.
Oh my God.
Try that. So you're going backwards upstairs. 2 push-ups, 2 push-ups, 2 push-ups, right? And the stairs are like that. They're steep as hell. That's one. And then we have Ninja 1, we have Ninja 2, we have Ninja Next, which is free for all. There's a whole ninja course in my backyard. If you follow me online, you've seen that thing in the backyard.
I have seen that. Your backyard's great.
Yeah. I mean, there are 4 places to play on my property. In the gym, the high bar, 25-foot rope parallel bar section. Also the other 17-foot rope, pull-up pegboard section. And then there's the ninja course section. So the whole thing. And I want to do another one. I want to put in a little sport court where I can play pickleball or hoop or something. That's a big project. So that's Sunday. Monday is cardio, which is what I did yesterday. So I invited 7 people. 1 came. Brian came. So it's 3 minutes on the stationary bike, 3 minutes on the VersaClimber, 3 minutes on the treadmill, 3 minutes on the rower, 3 minutes on the rope, 3 minutes on the ski machine. 1 hour. Just like, and then we just switch. We want to try to keep our heart rate up. So 15, 20 seconds in between, a sip of water. So we're just, cranking, and then VersaClimber, crank, and then treadmill, 3 minutes, let's go. And then rower, wham, 3 minutes. And then jump rope, boom, 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 3 minutes. And then the ski machine, wham, wham, wham. And then we just set the timer. And when 1 hour is up, usually we'll go an hour 3, hour 4, just so if we're on a machine right at the hour mark, we have to finish that last 3.
So you only do cardio on Monday?
Incorrect. So we do Tuesday shoulders and arms, which was that thing I made up today. Yeah. Wednesday is plyo, which is cardio alike, but it's really a HIIT training. There's breaks because there's so much muscle recruitment. It's up and down stuff. You know what I mean? You're jumping, you're squatting, one is a side lunge, jump shot, side lunge, jump shot. That's another, there's 20 moves, and the lowest rep count on all those 20 is 30 reps. And the highest is 100 reps, and some are 40, 50, some are 60, right? And there's breaks there because you are huffing and puffing in between. Thursday's chest and back, typically it has been. It's just pull-ups and push-ups and a lot of tonal, right? We're doing a lot of incline bench press with the tonal, and usually we'll do like a body weight and then a tonal or a dumbbell, and we'll rotate those. But I'll walk in the room and go, we're doing 500 push-ups today. You know what I mean? Or we have one called Triple Trouble Challenge, where you do 3 sets of push-ups, and the 3 sets have to be the exact same number. So if you pick 20, you got to do 20 the first set, the second set, and the third set. And then you have to pick that number for pull-ups, and you go back and forth. Right? You do your 3, and then you do your 3 on the pull-up, and you do 3 more and 3 until 24 sets are up. And you're usually pretty trashed. Friday is something called balls and boxes, but because I have plantar fasciitis right now, I haven't been able to have it. So there's a lot of plyo box jumping, a lot of stability work on stability balls, and you go back and forth. Core, legs, core, legs, core, legs, core, legs. You do 10 exercises, and then you take enough time to do this, and then you do them again. And then Saturday's yoga, always yoga, usually an hour and a half. And I haven't been to a class in 18 months, so I do it at home. Which is kind of boring.
You do it? Are you leading the class? And
I do it at home by myself, or Shauna will join me, or I'll do it live on Facebook.
Who's Shauna? Is that your wife?
It's my wife. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're the wife of 6 years.
Correct.
Is she a fitness fanatic too?
No. She does what she does. She does Orange Theory, and she's had some back issues for the last couple of years. She's in the midst of getting injections and doing a Egoscue. I don't know if you're familiar with a Egoscue or not.
No, what is that?
A Egoscue is a physical therapy sequence that changes day to day. It just helps alignment. It helps symmetry from right side to left side. It's just an incredible, it's been around forever. Lee Trevino and Jack Nicklaus, all these early golfers are investing in a Egoscue to help improve their golf swing as they got older. And it's a godsend for a lot of people, but it's still, they don't have a huge media thing where they're trying to sell that to anybody. Actually, this Egoscue coach is speaking at Paragon, which I think is going to blow people's minds. That is Saturday and then Sunday. So I schedule 7 days a week, but I'll skip 1 or 2. You know what I mean? It's always 5, sometimes it's 6, and it's rarely 7. Because if you schedule 5, you'll probably only do 3. You know what I mean? Or 4.
Yeah.
But if you schedule 7, the goal is you look at your calendar, and at the end of the month, you should have 22 workouts. If you don't, you might have sold yourself short. 15 on is 15 days off. So it's like throwing yourself down a set of stairs, and you get sore, but nothing really happens, The idea here is to be consistent, like we do with breathing and eating and walking and seeing and work, all the survival things. But you want your thrive things. I'll give you a day off to thrive. But
1 day off. But 22. So in your brain, in your mind, 22 days of working out. 15 is kind of like you're doing it, but you should kind of push for a little bit more.
You're never gonna get what you want. You're never gonna get as good as you want. You're never gonna get as strong as you want. You're never gonna get as flexible. There will be improvements, right? I mean, you don't have to read a book 10 times to absorb it, but you probably get a lot more out of the book if you did. You know what I mean? So you want to just do things often. Like, Tony,
but wait, how about injury? Like everything you're saying, like as you get older, this is what's amazing to me when you're talking. You're doing days of work. You're doing work that, like, do you have zero injuries? Like no knee problem?
I have plantar fasciitis now. First time I've had that in 10 years,
But that's not even serious.
Yeah, you have to kind of, like yesterday's jumping rope was a problem. Running on the treadmill was a problem.
Yeah.
I could kind of get so then I just would ice it up and roll it out and all that kind of thing. First of all, variety is the key, right? You don't do legs 2 days in a row. You don't do upper body 2 days in a row. Like, look at the sequence. Sunday is upper body. Monday is lower body cardio. Tuesday we're back to upper body. So I've had 24 hours to let that heal. And then plyo, lower body. And then chest and back, upper body. Friday, balls and boxes, lower body. Yoga, recovery, right? It's everywhere, and you can make it as hard or easy as you want. And then Sunday we're back to upper body. So and then you also don't have to hit a home run every time. Hey man, like last Tuesday, energy was really low. I shot 25 workouts in 2 weeks, and when Tuesday rolled around, I was just aching. I was like, no real injuries, just fatigued and sore and tired. So I just lowered the weights, up the reps, took it really easy. You know what I mean? So it's called active recovery, right? Go for a bike ride. If you're wasted, go for a bike ride, or do a 20-minute stretch, or do yoga first thing when you get up, jump out of bed. Not everything has to be you have not winning the Olympics every time you work out. It doesn't have to be that. And
but you're doing real like muscle confusion. Like you really are doing everything.
Because I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get bored, and I don't want to plateau. And most people stop doing what they're doing because they get hurt, and because they plateau, and because they get bored. So today I turned to Scott, the one guy who showed up this morning. I said, dude, I'm making this thing up. What are we going to do? Let's get the bars. Let's put our feet up on a thing. Let's do this. I want to feel this. I want to feel this. So I've done a version. I've done pike presses, and I go, let's just screw around here. And I go, do you feel that? He goes, oh my God. Yeah. I go, then we're in the right body position. Like we had to adjust our feet a couple inches in both directions. Like instead of going down like this, we had to make sure that it was an actual push-up. Mm-hmm. For the weight because of our butt in the air. I'm just playing, right? I'm just playing with stuff. I'm not like, okay, there's the move. Let's do the move. There's the move again. Let's do just like last week, the week before that. No, man. You know what I mean? Like the Sunday thing, like my buddy hadn't been here in months. He goes, the first move is a 25-foot rope and max pull-ups and then down. Yeah, it is. You know why? Because we can. He goes, oh my God, you're making this thing so scary. One move is you go up a pegboard, which takes you to about 12 feet off the ground. Then you climb a beam that basically, with your arms, you can use your legs if you need them, all the way to the top of a 17-foot rope. There's a bell up there, but the bell isn't near the rope. You have to extend out and hit the bell. Then you come back to the rope, you go down the rope, then you go back up the rope, and you got to ring the bell again. Then you're going to go back down the beam, and then the pegs are where you left them, and then you bring them all the way to the opposite corner. Then you have to reach up with one arm, grab the pull-up bar, but it's not a pull-up bar. It's these little handly things that twist, and then you do max pull-ups. There you go.
Do you have women in the Sunday? Because women's upper body strength would not be able to do it. Very, very few women can do that Sunday day.
I have this girl, Deb, who's a mixed martial artist, who's just, right?
Yes.
5'2". She's a friggin', she did my MMA routine, didn't sweat a bead. 1 hour, not a bead came out of her. The guy next to us, Chris Titus, like he was like swimming, but wetter. Okay?
Oh my God.
Okay, so that's a contrast. All right. And then our friend Chelsea, who's a former gymnast and cheerleader, just, she's just right. Like she's like this table everywhere. And then other people just come and suffer and do partial. And if you got the right mindset, which is, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with just hanging and being here and watching and learning. And they're like Andrew, overweight character actor. He ain't watching and learning anymore. He's teaching lessons. So
that's amazing. I mean, so you don't do not Sunday, everything else. You said Wednesday you do 5:30. Are all the other workouts at night, morning? Like what is the
I vary it based on my schedule. And then people.
So it's based on your schedule. So you don't have like a kooky morning routine.
No, man. I mean, ideally, in a perfect world, get up, have a snack, whatever, chill out, watch some TV, read a book, work out at 11 a.m., have another meal, have another shake, go to bed early, drink some water. That's not the real world. The real world is, I got to get my ass up and go to work. But Tony's having a workout at 7:30. Either I go or I don't. And then, now his next workout's at 5:30 p.m. But then that's when he's having it based on his schedule. So I either show up or I don't. And that's just life, right? So when's the most ideal, people say, when's the most ideal time to work out? The time that you know that you'll show up. That's the most ideal time. Because if you don't have a job and you're rich, then whatever you want to do, you know what I mean? But
right.
The rest of us, they got to live in the world and you got to figure it out and you got to do it 5 to 6 days a week. And that's going to make it harder for you because, the Kathy got up at the crack of dawn in the dark and did it in the dark and fed her kids, get her kids off to work. And then she went to work and she had to go to work in a bus, didn't have a car. So work out at 4:30, Ohio, in Minnesota. It's freaking 49 degrees down there. And they're going to kids got to get up. I just did plyo for an hour and get you up. And I'm also 5'0" and I'm overweight, but I'm going to freaking do it again and again and again and again and again. So what's your excuse, whoever you are out there with your baloney excuse? So
I agree with that. Now that you're rich though, what is your habits? Like, what do you do now with all that P90 money? What do you do from morning until night? What are your habits to look like that, to be like that? We know you work out. That schedule is insane. And now it makes sense. That's how you're so ripped though still, because you truly are like doing everything in that week. But then wait, how long are you working out? So besides the Sunday, is everything else like an hour, 2 hours? I know Monday you have that hour cardio.
It's Jennifer, correct? Jennifer?
Yes, it is Jennifer.
It's not Jen. I don't want to call you by the wrong.
You can call me either. I don't care.
J Queen. What can I call you?
That's fine. That's perfect. I love it. Yes.
J Queen. The J Queen. All right. That's your new nickname, by the way.
Thank you.
Letterhead. It's going to be right there.
I love it.
They take as long as they take, depending on, I always give myself a couple hours, except for Sunday where I give myself 4. But those usually come in around 3.5, give or take. Unless there's a big crew, then it's, we start at 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. People start going home at 1. 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, they're 4 hours. They're never not. They're never 3.5. Who am I kidding? They're 4 hours.
Are you serving snacks or like?
Yeah, I have a snack basket.
Oh, you do?
I usually have 3 different kind of snacks, and we usually take the midpoint, like the 8th set. We usually, like a friend of mine's making these things called, his last name is Morgan, so M-O. They call them monads, which we think is not a good name.
Not the greatest, no.
Monad, or Mobites, or Mobars, or we're trying to come up with something for them.
Okay, that's better.
They're just basic, some complex carbs, some chocolate chips, and some rolled oats, and a little bit of protein powder, and they makes it look like little mini hockey pucks. Or I just have like a Vega bar in there and some mixed seeds, depending on what people want. And yeah, people are sipping, and they've got they got electrolytes, and they've got whatever they got in their little containers. I usually, once I do a massive shake first thing on a Sunday morning. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's like,
what do you put in your shake? I want to know I want to know every habit, every daily habit.
Frozen blueberries, raw organic pecans, raw organic walnuts, baby kale, baby spinach, enough ice cubes to make it frothy like a milkshake. My brand new Power Life plant-based chocolate protein powder with HMB and vitamin D. Another product of mine, Power Life, called Foundation 4, which is probiotics, prebiotics, 2 servings of vegetables, sun fiber, and a lot of magnesium. Boom, gut health, gorgeous.
That was good. It's called Power Life.
Power Life, woman, step out. And you can, if you go to mypowerlife.com, and anybody who's listening, and including yourself, 30% off if you put in the code Tony30, which will save you some bread. And you also save money when you buy more than one. But if you come here to the house, I might have one for you. So
that's nice. Are you inviting everybody or just me?
No, golly, no. I got a pretty big backyard, but not that big. And then, then I put all that in. And then I put unsweetened organic vanilla flaxseed milk in there. And then gobble, gobble. And now it goes. Yeah.
Flaxseed milk, huh?
Yeah. Organic, non-sweetened, unsweetened vanilla flaxseed milk. A lot of people have problems with oat milk, and they have problems with almond milk, and I did, and I don't have problems with this one. So, I mean, I'm vegan, and also no wheat, no soy, no corn, no dairy. Now, wheat, soy, corn, and dairy are vegan ingredients, but not for me. So that's all based on all the blood work. I get blood work every 6 months, 9 to 12 vials come straight out of the vein, and then I sit down with my endocrinologist, nutritionist, either via Zoom or on the phone, and go, well, here's your number, here's your cholesterol, here's your hormones, here's your estrogen, here's your testosterone, here's your free testosterone, here's your vitamin D, here's your vitamin K, all the way through. And she goes, you know what, you might want to up your omegas a little here, and you might want to, I think you're taking too much D. You want to, so every month we just alter it. And I think that a lot of it has to do with, it's about inflammation, man. It's about inflammation. So you're just trying to keep that down. And with a plant-based diet, no bags under the eyes, nothing, pretty good. Those for my glasses. You know what I mean? It's just that inflammation is bad. Obese people live with constant inflammation from their hair to their toenails 24/7. And somehow they survive. And that's when you get rid of that inflammation in your joints, in your brain, in your spine, in your knees, in your joints. It's a magic. It's a miracle almost. But you have to know what you have to know what to do, which means you got to cut out all the crap you've been eating and start to move again, or for the first time. And then you got to get rid of your crappy friends, and you have to learn how to breathe. And
the breathing. But wait, then for recovery then, okay, so what are your things that you do for recovery and for your food? So the Power Life protein is what you do in the morning. What do you have for, what do you eat throughout the day if it's vegan? What are you eating? And what do you do? Are you doing the infrared sauna? Are you doing red light? Are you doing walking on the grass for your feet? What's your?
I have an infrared sauna, so I use that as part of my recovery, which was a lovely gift from Sun.
Oh, Sunlighten.
Sunlighten. Thank you,
yes.
Sunlighten. If anybody's watching, it's gold. They have different sizes, different colors and shapes. Beautiful. There's TV in there. There's internet in there. You can, it's pretty.
You have a TV in your infrared?
Yeah, it comes with it. It comes with a little screen.
I have a clear light, which I thought was a really good one, and I don't have a TV in mine.
The Sunlighten, you got TV in there. It's little. Wow. It's like a yeah. You can watch videos and listen to, Pandora or your own playlist or whatever. It's kind of nice in there. And there's different kinds of lights that you can do in there. There's red light that does something and whatever. So I have that. I foam roll. I foam rolled last night. I have a little sciatic, and I have 3 different Theraguns. So,
do you have a Hypervolt? Do you use Hypervolt?
I have a Theragun, and there's a new company called Fors, F-O-R-S, and it's compact, which is nice. It travels really well. It also has a hot and cold option. And it changes almost instantly by press of a button. It doesn't get hot. You don't want to burn yourself. It doesn't get cold. You don't want to freeze, but it's literally next level, right? Theragun's cool. The other brand you're talking about is cool. But, the original Theragun was like, bang, 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 bang. Anyway, Bill, I want to
exactly.
Can you turn off your Theragun? For God's sakes, it sounds like a jackhammer. Now,
it's unbelievable. And it's moves like that, too. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. The Theragun, though, has the new Pro, quiet, multiple options on it, it's really, it's evolved like a lot of other things evolved. So originally it was just a jigsaw.
It was crazy.
You could literally, I could put a different thing. I could cut some wood with this original one.
Exactly.
So that's automatic. The breathing techniques are really important. I go for bike rides. That's my mindfulness practice. So I go for a little mellow walk run on the trails behind my house. Epsom salt baths are critical whenever I'm really needing that. We happen to have a jacuzzi tub, which is kind of nice big old one. So I put in 2 cups of whatever kind of Epsom salts I want to put in there, and I hang out in there and I play some music. And I turn the lights off and I just chill. That's really important. And sleep. I get really great. I'm a mouth taper now. If you're not familiar with what that is, you read James Nestor's book and you go, what? Breathing through your mouth is about one of the worst things that you can do. You ever see people like driving and they look over and that's all they do. Like this thing, you might as well cut it off because no, you're not using it. That is for eating. This is for breathing. So I tape at night. I use medical tape every night to keep my mouth closed.
But why? What's the benefit? What does it do? Like, what are the?
Well, it's a higher quality of oxygen that you're using. You're using the filtration and all these amazing. There's millions of these little filters through the nose, and sometimes people's nose are just shut down. They stop working, and so it's for when you breathe through your mouth, the dirt, the bacteria, the disease, the viruses go straight to your lungs. When you breathe through your nose, it gets filtered and it actually goes into your stomach. And when it goes into your stomach, the stomach acids kill all that crap, right? Mouth, lungs, nose, stomach. It's science. It's amazing. So there was a guy who he did it in James Nestor's book. He talks about this guy back in the mid 1800s who was a government portrait painter, very talented lawyer. But he just figured before we murdered all the native Indians that we should go meet all these people and learn a thing or two from them, because he had a sense that they had knowledge that the white man didn't have. None of them were mouth breathers. And there was this one tribe in the Midwest called the McCann tribe. All 6 foot, men and women, blue eyes, blonde hair, Indians, and breathing through your mouth was almost a sin. Like they would wrap their children's mouths at birth and force them to use their noses. They didn't even like to smile or laugh because of the intake of how did 1,800 Indian tribes. Wow. The McCanns. So that was just one of many studies. And Nestor talks about breathing patterns. I mean, there's meditation, but there's breathing patterns that give people benefit without prayer, without meditation. Just one of the ones that I practice regularly, I got out of this book that's helped me tremendously. I do it every night before I go to bed, and I am out cold in the midst of it every time. It's 5.5 breathing. So it's a 5.5 second inhalation, no pause at the top, 5.5 exhalation. So it's easy to exhale in 5 or 6 seconds, but to inhale, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000. Usually most people are full at 3,000. Then you have to, right? So it takes some time. Usually you can do 3 and 3, then you get to 4 and 4. And I do that at night. And man, I literally, before I wake up and pee or, have some crazy dreams, or like usually when most people go to bed, traffic, family, the kid got a tattoo on his earlobe. My boss is an asshole. You're doing this. You can't shut it off. You can't, it's pre-dreaming, where you're just like, shut it off. So this technique kind of prevents you because you're focusing on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then, it doesn't work for everybody right away, but it started working for me like the second night, and that's part of my recovery. It's a huge part of my recovery, my breathing techniques. And before, mouth, nose, who cares? You breathe, you're moving on. So why does there need to be so much specificity when it comes to breathing? Well, right. If you're willing to learn and grow from scientists and stuff who study this stuff because that's all they care about, and you practice what they tell you, then you might notice a mild upgrade in the lack of pain and energy. Because most people who are struggling, really it's 2 things. It's pain and fatigue. It's pain and fatigue. Take away your pain, take away your fatigue. What do you got? You got all the energy and mobility that you need to go out into the world and train hard and live large and go heli ski and rock climb and learn stuff and horseback ride and have a look back at your life and go, I did all those things. But if I had pain, most Americans, because they're so inflamed and they're so stressed out, it's all pain and fatigue, right? So yeah, so
that's what you're doing. The breathing through so you tape. How long have you been taping your mouth, and what have you seen as an improvement? So here's the thing about that McCann tribe. Yeah.
Usually what happens to people is they have collapsed palates. When you're a mouth breather, your palate, like if you look at your palate, it's like this inside, right? Theirs is like that, right? And which I can't quite remember why that is.
Why? I was going to say, how is that?
I don't have bad breath at all anymore, which is kind of fun. Unless
Did you have bad breath before?
Occasionally, because when you're a mouth breather, right? I mean, you're just drying out your throat, you're drying out your lungs, you're drying out your gums, and you're just like your spiders in your mouth. There's no more spiders in my mouth. Like
it's like sleep apnea.
You swallow like 30 spiders a year. You don't even know it, right?
You do?
Yeah, the spiders, like, and they're just in there and they're in your throat. I don't want spiders. I don't want any more spiders in my mouth. I don't know if that's necessarily true. It depends on your climate, where you live, and whatever.
But but hold on. But is it
killing your spiders outside? I don't know.
Wait, did you have sleep apnea? Is this to help with sleep apnea?
I went through a sleep study, and I had mild sleep apnea.
Mm.
Now, all the doctors and King's horses and all the King's men said that mouth and taping your mouth is not going to help your sleep apnea go away. Whatever. All I know is I sleep like a baby, and I have tons of energy all day, most days. Not always. Sometimes I'm beat up, but that's whatever. But yeah, so there's that. There's so many weird things. Like the quality of my skin has improved a little bit, like just mild. Like I used to have really patchy red spots. It is, I mean, it's breath and water. Before you start putting food in your mouth, the quality of every cell in your body starts with the quality of air and the quality of the water and how much of those two things you're getting. That's really how you, right? Like if you're stranded, you're on an island, and you haven't found a wild boar to kill yet, or you don't know if those berries are going to kill you or not. You survive based on breathing and water. That's the basics. And if your basics are crap, right? You're living near Fukushima or Chernobyl. All right. So we have genetics, which we talked about initially. Then you have behavior and you have environment. All right. So your environment is kind of really, and your environment is external forces and internal, and your reaction, those internal reactions to those external forces, right? So bad people, bad air, bad water, bad boss, lots of arguing, right? That's your environment. All right. And then your behavior is fitness and food. Those are your behavior and how you treat people, obviously, bad environment, bad behavior, and you add stress, whatever your inability to be able to, that's how wars are started, because like, oh, well, okay. Yeah. I don't necessarily want your stuff and you don't want my stuff. So we don't need to go to war and kill tens of thousands of people because you like what I have and I like what you have and I want that. You know what I mean? Like, all right, why don't we see if we can live together? Let's try that. Can I borrow, a basket, and I'll let you lend. You can have my bowling ball. Let's work together. And I don't know. I just pulled that out of my ass. But you know what I'm saying? So the thing is, it's like we just have to learn how to. There's a lot of steps here. Like I've covered a lot of ground, right? There's a lot of things that you need to do. But if you're willing to grow and you're willing to transform and you're willing to change, and you're unhappy with where you are, then you got to do something. Right? I mean, you have to take some kind of an action. So if you get your environment under control and you get your behavior in such a place, then you can literally change your genetics in your lifetime. You can change. You don't have to wait for your kids and your grandkids. No, your genetics will change. Jack LaLanne's dad died at 50 based on his genetics, his behavior, and the environment that he was in. Jack lived to be 96, almost doubled his father's age because he did different stuff, right? My father died at 80. My mother died at 72. The circumstances in which my dad died were we don't know. But my mother had cancer and Parkinson's. But they had, life is hard. You don't understand. It's a battle out there. People are out to get you. You know what I mean? It's a dog eat dog world. That's really? Does it have to be? Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to like your work. You got responsibilities. Really? No, I ain't gonna do that. I don't want to be a salesman. I don't want to be an engineer. I want to do what I want to do. You know what I mean? And so, what is your raison d'etre? Most people have no idea. They're doing something else. They're doing something their parents told them to do, or they're doing something else that, you know what I mean? Like what I talk about a lot is you have your job, and let's say your job sucks. Then you better find something else that you love. That is counter to this bad mojo over here, right? All right. So, and then there's a great story of a guy who was an accountant. He was good with numbers, and he had a family and kids, and he would go to work every day and get in traffic and go to work, and he'd be in his cubicle with his fake little palm tree in the corner, staring at four walls. There were no windows where he crunching numbers. And he was good. He had coworkers that were fine, but he was always at the bike shop on Saturdays and Sundays. Honey, I'm going to go over to Tommy's bike shop. All right. So you only really fine. And he'd be over there, and then customers would go, hey, do you work here? No, but I can help you. Oh, really? I need a gam strain and a gangler wrench to fix my fork thing. Oh, yeah, let me tell you what to do. You want this brand over here. And then the manager was like, dude, do you want to work here? Because you're here anyway. And you want to work it. And so he goes back to his wife. His wife was cool. Hey, honey, can I work at because he's going to pay me. And then he worked Saturdays first. Then he worked Saturdays and Sundays. And he made plans to hang out with his kids and not disappear down the road. But he got discounts on bikes and a family like that. And then he became the assistant manager. And then the manager, and 5 years later, he owned the place. So he had the job that he was good at, hated it, got into this hobby thing that he loved. 5 years later, he owned the bike shop and was making 10 times what he was making as an accountant.
Because he was following what he was actually doing what he loved.
His raison d'etre, his reason for being. Right. And most people, and like here, here's a great book here. Go read The Magic Lamp. If you don't know who the hell you are, go read The Magic Lamp. I'm trying to think of the author all of a sudden.
The Magic Lamp?
The Magic Lamp. Oh, here it is. Keith Ellis. Right. And it says goal setting for people who hate setting goals, but really, like a lot of notes in here, right? So, and I underline.
How old is that book? I'm who is that guy still alive? I want to get him on the podcast.
Get him on the podcast, man. Yeah. This is 1998. 1998.
What's his name? The guy who wrote it.
96, 98. Keith Ellis. Tell him Tony Horton sent him.
I will. I'm going to say Tony Horton recommended you.
So one of the cool things about the book is, like, let's say you don't know who you're supposed to be or what you're supposed to do. I don't know if it's 10 or 20. You write down 10 things or 20 things you would love to be. Like, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be the president of the United States. Like, I want to be a movie star. All right. And those 10 things, if they were handed to you, like, boom, right? Then you make another list of all the things that you'd want to be if you were willing to work your ass to get there. All right. So this is something for nothing. And this is something based on your hard work. And then you've got one and one, two and two, three and three, all the way down. And then you have to pick one and one. Astronaut, comedian. You got to cross one of them out. Okay, comedian. Then two and two, and you cross them out. And then you got two new lists. You put them up. Right. And then the list gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. And turns out you already know what you're supposed to do. You're just not doing it. You've already written it down. And then if you're not happy with the answer, like, sanitation worker, that's weird. You do it again. And if the same 2 or 3 or 4 things keep popping up, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Now you got to go find all the places and the things that you got to go do. Stamp collector. Well, maybe you're supposed to own a stamp collection store. But if, sometimes you get to the list and you go, well, that's not feasible. That's not even a thing anymore. You know what I mean? Maybe you can make it a thing. Make it your thing. You know what I mean?
Wait, that's a great teaser too. I'm going to have 2 great teasers now. Is that in the book, The Magic Lamp, what you just said? Or is that your thing, those 2 lists?
That's in the book. That's
a really great That's a great one. That's a great idea for people.
I have not had an original thought since the day I was born. Everything I is just a Tony Horton version of something I've already ripped off. P90X ripped that off. I mean, the push-up. I ripped it off. I didn't invent the push-up. But there was
did it?
No, I was not the first. But I did. What I was able to do. The only thing I did was I took moves and I altered them and combined things. And I sequenced things differently than had ever been sequenced before. And I put that workout on day 1 and that one on day 2 with the altered names and sequences and moves. Right? Like the Kempo. Nobody ever came up with that sequence of punches and kicks before. That was my doing. I learned, okay, that's a jab. That's a cross. That's a hook. That's an uppercut. Okay, well, what else can we do? Let's, how about a vertical punch? How about a claw? How about, you know what I mean? Let's just.
That's true. You did one move I've never seen to this day that I've never seen anyone else do, which is very strange. Maybe because I'm just like, I was myopic, but you did this like tricep move where you put your arm one down.
Side rise try.
Right? And you do a tricep push up with one arm, yes, it's great. Did you make that up?
Maybe not.
Oh, damn it. I thought you did.
By the way, this is before the internet. So it wasn't like I could just Google.
I know.
Yeah.
So did you make it up or did you steal it from
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember if I did.
I mean, I bet you've never even done P90. I bet you did it and you just like, like pieced out, like you just never did it ever again. And now all these people are doing it over and over again for all these years. You did it, you kind of created it, you taped it, and then you kind of just moved on to the next pro like thing.
Kind of, yes. Yeah. I mean, I think I've seen all. I'm just checking my schedule to make sure I don't have anything after you.
I know I'm going on and on with you as if like you have nothing else to do, nor I.
By the way, I don't have anything till 6 p.m., woman. I don't know who's going to watch a 2-hour podcast with me. This is like a
lot of people.
Is Scorsese going to score this thing? Because there's the only way anyone's going to watch this.
First of all, can I tell you something? I've had a few other ones that are 2 hours. I did one with Nikki Glazer. Do you know who she is? She's a comedian.
Sure. Go ahead, Nikki Glazer. She is the schnizzle. Can she and I be best friends?
She's freaking hilarious. So she and I went on. What?
Funnier than me.
I don't know. She's different funny. She's a different funny. She's a hilarious girl, though. I will tell you. And
for sure.
Her and I went on for like, it was almost like we were going on 3 hours at that point. We were like, okay, you know what? Like, this is like Joe Rogan next level. Okay. Like so I think I shut it off at like 2:25 or 2:30, but
we're at 156 right now. I'm taking her down. What else do you want to know? Boxers or briefs? What's your prescription? I don't know.
Okay, fine. So boxers or briefs? I'm going to go down there. Like, which one is it? Boxers or briefs?
Briefs. Who the hell? I can't fly around like that.
I don't know. I'm just asking. Okay, let's go into supplements. You haven't told me any. I know Power Life. I know Power 4. What are you? Do you have a supplement line? Do you take supplements? Tell me all that stuff.
Well, the supplement line is called Power Life. So
everything's Power Life.
Everything's Power Life, depending on the actual product, aka SKU. So there's 2 proteins. There's plant and whey, and there's chocolate and vanilla. Basic. There you go. There's the Foundation 4, which I talked about. There's
got that.
Product called Endurance, which is something that you would take every day, first thing with your first meal. There's a Performance, which is a super low caffeinated time release, giddy up, before your workout kind of thing. But it's not like a lot of them where your hands are shaking. You know what I mean? It's just sort of it's just something to and it's got a lot of other properties in it that are actually really good for you, good for your immune system and stuff like that.
You take all of this?
All of them. There's another one called Peak Performance, which I'm a real fan of too, which is, it's got a couple extra ingredients to help the performance work better, right? Because sometimes you can make something a powder, but what's in the pill won't go in the powder because it'll expire in 20 minutes or something. You know what I mean? So you have to
take a pre-workout, you mean? Like a pre-workout?
Performance I take with my Peak Performance, which is the pill, and just the performance powder. So they go together. And then there's one for digestion. There's one for gut health. What else is there? And then we're developing new products. One's a nighttime protein powder, which I'm the guinea pig for right now, which might be another reason why I'm sleeping so well. So, there's maybe a little bit of tryptophan in there or something. I'm not quite sure.
Okay, so do you drink coffee? Do you like coffee?
No coffee. No, I never drank it. I don't know why. I never got into that groove, and I never drank it. I'll have a cup like once in a while and think, God, this stuff's awesome. But
you don't drink it?
I don't drink it. No.
How about so you actually do take a pre-workout to do your workouts?
Sometimes, depending on the workout. Yeah, I don't like automatic with it because it feels like But the one that we designed for me, which is super subtle. It has a lot of really super health properties in it. So it's nutritious. It's not just a caffeine loaded pineapple punch flavored crap.
Like, yeah. Like just like a
CVS or something like that.
Right. Okay. How about, so do you eat breakfast? Are you like an intermittent fasting guy, or do you actually eat 3 meals? Does it matter what time you eat?
It's funny because you asked that earlier and I went off on a tangent. So I'm going to try to stick to the answer now.
I know. I did ask that. You remember that I asked that.
I started talking about, tendon inflammation. I don't know where I went.
No. You started talking about your hair. I think that it's like you always had like you always had genetics for your hair to be dark, and you only did a couple lasers on your face, but you never did anything else.
Yup. Great. Let's bring that up again. Like, laser on the face.
Believe me, if I could look like you, the fact that you look like this at 63 years old, I honestly, I keep on glancing at myself on the other side of the screen, and I'm like, oh my God, I literally look older than this guy.
I don't know how old you are, but you look 30.
I love you, Tony.
28, 30.
Okay, I love you, and now we're going to be BFFs. Could we be friends after this?
Probably.
No, I'm like serious. Now
you are on triple secret probation. Don't forget that. You always will be until I get to know you well enough. And then you go on the double and then the single, and then eventually you get off probation. And then we keep you around for the rest of our lives.
Get back to what you eat. So you have...
First thing in the morning, just a big handful of M&Ms right out of the box. Just that extra chocolate. Love that. Wake up feeling good. Lots of energy.
Okay, perfect.
And then I'll probably do a line, a couple lines if I need. And then I'll just get into the triple cheese chimichangas like around 10:30. And then I won't eat for 3 days. Usually vomit for a couple, and then I move on to cheeseburgers. I do a shake like that one I described before a workout. Something super light like the pre-workout, maybe the foundation for boom, and then that's just to get something in me to kind of get me going. I'll even put some creatine if I'm doing some body weight or weightlifting. Still doing the creatine, but I'm careful there, that there's the cramping and the whatever, and my liver is an old liver. I don't want to overdo it there. So I just, I'm not sure, because most people are abusing things like creatine and other things like that.
Yeah.
So, no need to abuse it, just use it. So that's pre-workout. But if I don't have a workout in the morning, I'll do the shake after the workout or the shake first thing, depending on whether I'm working out or not. And then my first meal is typical. There's a caveat to this whole thing, like around noon or 1 or whatever, I'm hungry. What I do is because you're on Westwood, I go to Air One, or I have my assistant go to Air One and get every vegetable in the deli, fresh, bang, just fill 2 containers. That'll last me a couple days. And then I'll do some Beyond Meat, spicy breakfast patties. So I take X amount of vegetables, right? And 1 or 2 or 3 breakfast patties and put it in the air fryer. Boom. This is just one option. Right. And so air fried, beautiful, a little bit of crisp to them. And so it's broccolini, and it's cauliflower, and it's string beans and snow peas and whatever else vegetables that we can get going in there. And then I'll chop them all up because I put them all in the air fryer, pull it all out, chop it all up, eat it. Big bowl, big ass bowl. There's a great company. The company is started by what is this? Oh my God, I got 8 thoughts at once. They're all colliding and there's no words coming out. So there's a company called Fire Road, and Fire Road is a plant-based home delivery food service. And I've tried them all, and man, they're okay initially. Then they get kind of boring because they don't really change them up very often. But the quality of Fire Road's food is so good. I could eat the same meals over and over and over again. And the guy who created Beyond Meat, his name is Ethan, I believe, and his brother David is sort of the founder and CEO of Fire Road. And Brendan Brazier, who's the creator of Vega, is friendly with both these guys. And I remember when Ethan showed up here and Brendan said, "Hey, you got to meet this guy. He's creating this fake meat." I was like, "Oh, that's well, you should invest." And I didn't. That was one mistake I made. Yeah. But I thought, I like David's idea. I like Fire Road. And that's how I kind of go back and forth between, Fire Road's meals and whatever comes out of Air One. And my wife Shauna is an amazing cook. She makes all kinds of vegan gumbos and soups and stews and meals for me that are just amazing. So between those 3 sources, so typically it's a shake before or after a meal. It's a big vegan meal. It's a second vegan meal, and then another shake at night. not right before I go to bed, but like 90 minutes to an hour at the latest before I go to bed. And those are all, so Power Life, in the morning and at night, and then just plant. And then I'll do fruit and seeds and nuts and pumpkin seeds and pistachios and just something to, fill in the gap. One of my favorite things in the world, which will be your new favorite thing to do, gluten-free muffins. And we get them out of this place out of Utah. They ship them out of this, that's a mom and pop shop, and they make these gluten-free muffins, right? So cut them in half, throw them in the toaster, come out of the toaster, and we found this vegan pesto. So there's no cheese, but vegan pesto, and you put that on the muffin, and then I slice avocado on top of that, and then I put some hot peppers on top of that, and they're like 2 little vegan avocado pepper pizzas, right? Toaster, put it all on, wham, wham. That's a favorite mid-afternoon yumathon. Oh, crunchy.
Oh, that sounds good.
Crunchy. The pesto and the avocado, forget about it. Forget. And then with the peppers, I kind of like, okay, let's go. And it's really red on the top. And the eyes light up and the cheeks light up, and it's good for my skin. And it's yummy, man. And I don't know how many calories that is. It's probably 350 calories, 400 calories or something. Maybe more than that. But, when you train every day, you can kind of eat whatever you want,
Well, you can, because you have a high, you have all muscle on you, number one. What I find interesting, and you didn't hormones are usually something when people are aging that they become a little bit out of whack. And that's why people start to lose more lean muscle mass and they're gaining more body fat. How have you kind of negated that whole thing? It seems like that never was an issue for you. What do you tell people who are kind of becoming more they're now in their, they're aging, they're in their 40s, 50s, whatever. And, their bodies are just changing. They're still very active. They're still eating really well, but their bodies are kind of becoming a little bit more soft, let's say.
If you're like me and you've been training for 35 years and so and you're always experimenting and you're pushing the envelope, but you're doing all your recovery work and you're trying to avoid the boredom, injuries, and plateaus that happen from doing the same things over and over again, expecting a different result. But if you're that person, then the demise is less obvious. And you can almost, especially now that I'm doing ninja courses and peg boards, and I'm out of the gym and I'm doing more body weight, athletic, primary, secondary, tertiary, muscle, skill-based athletic stuff. That really slows that down. But if you've been kind of screwing around and you get into your 40s and 50s and you're trying to start all over again, you have to work 10 times harder than I do to be able to get to where I am. You have to just okay. And this guy, Eric, who showed up at my house last week, managed to pull that off. It took him 15 months to do, but here he is doing the power of 4 and doing all these really unique. Because we had to try to keep people around, we had 3-month beta 1, provisional month, 3-month beta 2, provisional 2, 3-month beta 3. And now I've added a 4th while I shot the actual final program. But over the course of these 18 months, they got 43 routines, not 12, not 18, not 25. They got 40 something. So muscle, outrageous confusion. You know what I mean? Mindset videos, cleaning out your pantry videos. Shauna did cooking videos. We bombarded these folks with enough intel that it was almost overwhelming, but they hung in there, and it fluctuated between 1,500 people and about 2,200, but it was around 17 to 2,000 really mostly, and they just kept hung in there, and that's what Eric did. Overweight, insecure scientist guy, eating right, exercise, time, tick, 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 month 1, month 2, month 3, keeps on going, boom, boom, shows at my house and kicks our ass. You know what I mean? So you can spread it out over 35 years, but in 18 months, if you're laser beam focused, for example, if you came here, I don't know if I could stand you every day of the week, but if you could, but if you came and lived in my world, you'd have a completely different perspective about what to do with yourself.
No, listen, I'm talking to you and I'm thinking, I wonder if I can be your guinea pig, because as I'm saying the question I asked you, it's I think maybe I'm still strong and I'm fit, but I'm not like as hardcore as I once was. Right. And it's because like I'm so busy with life, and I don't want to use that as an excuse, but hearing all these people who are coming to your house, I know it's like my violin. I know, but that's why. But what I'm saying is all these Andrew, Eric, all these people who I feel the common denominator is once they start training at your house regularly, they've like kind of revamped themselves and they're like a whole new, better version of themselves. So
well, Eric's been here once. Andrew comes here once a week and sometimes only twice a month. But I just sent him off with the intel and the procedure.
Okay, set me off with intel. Can I be a guinea pig of yours?
Yeah, come here once in a while, hang out with me. We'll talk.
Once in a while.
Well, you know what I mean? Like they all come here once in a while, Like there's
don't you have like an extra cot in a room?
3 dudes that are here often. And they're here. And why are it's only those 3? Because everybody else is great, but these are the 3 that I want around all the time because we're cursing and we're swearing and we're violating every possible norm. We're just disgusting and we're farting and it's loud and we're saying shit that you could never say in front of normal people. You know what I mean? Right? That's because remember, I was a stand-up comic. Sam Kennison was my guy. I used to do a stand-up act that you cannot do now, cannot be done now. I would like Lenny Bruce would go, whoa, bro, you just shouldn't do that.
I heard, you know what I heard this is years ago. I heard this, that, do you remember cause they were talking about actually you are, and that other guy from Full House who looks like he's like very innocent. What's his name on the show on Full House?
Come on.
Oh my God.
Bob
Saget. Yes. Is like dirty as like so dirty. And they're like, you would never believe it until you saw it yourself. I'm like, oh, how can he be like, how can that guy, Bob Saget? And I heard his shit and I was like, oh my God, it was literally shocking.
I'm not Bob Saget bad, but I'm Bob Saget adjacent, can be.
No, I remember what I heard long time ago, years ago, someone was like, like Tony Horton, like you would die if you knew like what the shit he did before. Like he was that's how they're like, he's a stand-up comic. He was like doing crazy shit before this. This is why he's good at what he does now. That's how I so I knew this connection back 10 years, whatever it was, years ago. And I never saw your stuff. Like I actually, before this interview, like yesterday and the day before, whatever, I was Googling around trying to find like some of your like bits. I couldn't find anything.
Not around. Can't find them.
That would be so good though.
I was doing all that stuff before people could watch. Yeah. If this was in the audience, my whole act would go away. By the way, look at my dog. Look at that guy. Is that just a sweet?
Oh, it's a very beautiful dog.
Oh my God, Charlie Bear.
It's a very beautiful dog.
Yeah, I mean, I liked Sam Kennison and I liked Richard Pryor and I liked people who lived at the absolute edge of the envelope. You know what I mean? Like gobsmacking. Oh my God! Like just makes words. I'm a huge fan of taking words and smashing them together and having them come out and see what people do when they hear those words. You know what I mean?
100%. But
yeah,
who do you?
I'll say some stuff, and my friends will all just go words. Because they're fun. They're really fun to make a point, and so I can tone all that down and still have some fun and teach people how to get really fit and healthy and happy. And that's. And like you read Romancing the Shadow, Stephen Wolf's book. Where is that? It's understanding who you are and that you're more than just one person. And sometimes we keep some people, some version of us in the shadows, but then we have to really honestly, we know that's real because it's us, right? There's this person that we portray to the world. Hey, golly gosh, everything's great. Hey, how's the weather? How's the work? Terrific. How's the wife? Fantastic. The kids, everybody's doing great in school. But all of that is bullshit. Because what's happening at home, if you're a fly on the wall, it's like, you know what I mean? It's just, wow. So
it's so true.
It's a bummer, and that's what causes stress because people haven't really accepted truly what's happening in their life, truly who they are while it's happening. And they're not willing to confront the circumstances to upgrade the quality of their lives. So they have to live 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 different lives. At work, they're this guy, and at home, they're that person. And then in the car, you know what I mean? It's like you have to sort of begin to, like with me, this is it. This is who I am mostly, unless I'm around those 3 guys, and it gets pretty crazy. But for the most part, I don't have, like with my wife, I married my wife because she gets who I am, and we have the same language, and we both each other laughs, like slap your thigh laughter. We get each other. But when she's around other people, that person goes away because they would go, oh my God. Sean,
totally agree. I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? So that's because she has decorum, and she has, she's doesn't want to offend anybody.
She's got couth.
Yeah, And with me, look, I don't think I've been terribly offensive here. I think
not at all.
I think anybody who watches this will go, oh, that's 4 or 5 more swear words than I've ever heard him say. And so that might throw some people off. But for the most part, and look, I don't have to try to be this guy. And the other guy is just to get a rise out of those people. I just want to like when we were doing our 25 routines last 2 weeks, I would want to open up some of the workouts with everybody laughing, right? As if there was some sort of inside joke. And so we would walk in the room, and I would just say, right before we walk in, they didn't know what I was going to say. And I would just say crazy shit.
Right.
And when they came into the room, they were laughing for real. Because if you're not an actor, it's hard to fake laughter. So, I would say something absolutely off the chain, and they would come in for real laughing. And everybody was like, wow, I wonder what they're laughing about. But I couldn't even tell you here what half the stuff was, because it would make people sick.
I hear what you're saying. I mean, but at this point, do you even care anymore? I mean, you're like, you've already done it. You know what I mean? You're not going to be canceled now, and to my point, like what happened? Why
people getting canceled who didn't do much?
I know. Tell me about it.
Pat on the back and rape aren't the same thing, but there's a whole lot of people that are making it the same thing.
This is honestly a conversation you and I can have for like 100 hours offline, because I call it like, it's a whole coddle culture right now. It's all about coddling. The culture is completely different. There's, like I said earlier in this whole podcast, like 20 hours ago, there's no such thing as like levity or sense of humor, or just like, there's none of that anymore. Everyone is so sensitive.
It's the first time we're going to disagree. I think there is. I think there's a lot of it. I mean, it's happened here. You just, who was the conversation you had? Tell me the comic's name. I'm sure
Nikki Glazer.
Glazer, right? She's laugh riot. You look at Sarah Silverman.
But I love them.
Sarah Silverman has toned her act down. Who she was before and I remember her doing a speech. She's like, you know what? I don't want to lose my audience altogether. And so I can still be outrageous, but I don't have to hurt people's feelings.
I know. I saw her.
By the way, there are Black folks and gay folks and bisexual and Muslim folks and people from all kinds of communities, the LGBTQ community, that have been getting used and abused for centuries. And it's about time that some of us were more sensitive to the abuse that they've been going through forever. So maybe some of us should grow a pair and grow up and learn how to talk to people. So we're not from the 1800s, or you know what I mean? And Sarah Silverman, from what I gather, has been able to do that. And so have other people. If you're going to push the envelope so far that your audience gets smaller and smaller and smaller, and you just look like an angry asshole, then maybe you should reinvent yourself a little bit, right? You have to lose your edge. You don't have to, but there's something that you have to sort of, like, I look at Sebastian Maniscalco.
I love him.
Forget it.
Oh, he's amazing.
Absolutely. But he's not, he talks about his life and his family and his father and his experiences. He's not doing this,
No, but that's different. That's different. I'm not talking about that. I agree with you. I don't think you need to like point, be mean and cruel. That's definitely not what I'm saying. But I'm saying like a Bill Burr, who I think is so funny. Yeah. He's outrageous, and he says shit that like, it's like unbelievable. And like to what I said earlier is like, at least he's getting away with it more. He's the only one I know who's getting away with those things. If someone else would have said that stuff, they would have been canceled and fired and thrown out to the wolves a long time ago. You know, I mean, I agree with you though. I think Sebastian is very, that's because he's so good. But like you can name people like Jerry Seinfeld. He has a cleaner
Clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle.
It's so thoughtful. It's so, he's so thoughtful, meticulous, and his delivery is just pure Jerry Seinfeld, right? It's not like, or Chris Titus, my Chris, he's fearless, man. I mean, if you go on to his stuff,
I'll go listen.
But they're funny and they're creative. They do great impressions, and he'll but he doesn't care. He doesn't care. He's got his audience, whether it grows or shrinks based on wokeness or modern day PC stuff. He could care less. You know what I mean? But I could be right or wrong on this, but he knows he sees that society is changing, and he can still be a wild man and do his thing and not piss people off.
But how about are you on HGH? Are you on testosterone? Are you taking peptides?
Fuck no. You know what, because I get the blood work. Guess what I don't know if you know testosterone.
Of course I do. I know all of it.
Guess what at 63-year-old with no help, what my testosterone and free testosterone.
Okay, 700?
Fuck no. 898.
No, I don't believe you.
I'll show it to you. Yeah,
without taking anything?
Zero, honey. I train like it's the last day on earth, if I can. That's how I train, and I show up all the time. Now that might be some genetics as well. It's dropped as low as 5 something, but it's never gotten below 5 something. I had an 1100 once, like 5 years ago. Every 6 months, it's always above 7 something. I looked at the last week at 890. But now, of course, the supplement that I've created. Now, here's what you're going to notice, and it's a freak show. And it's not that rare anymore. But when I was getting into the development of Power Life, so this guy Science Will that works over at Golden Hippo, who's their head, cat. He's super nerdy, and he's just into this shit. And he's always, try this. Like I'm a human guinea pig. It goes, this stuff's safe. He goes, fine. It's totally organic. It's natural. Yeah, so is poppy seeds, okay? Or the poppy seeds. All right, yeah, that's all natural. So is sugar, okay? But that's a sugar. It's too much of that. It's going to be a problem.
Right.
Caffeine. I don't want to do a thing. And he goes, so this stuff has something called HMB in it. And HMB is a natural growing, and I wish I could give you more examples of what it is. But it's like creatine. You know what the difference is? Like workouts with and without creatine, it's a simple natural source that allows you to get creatine. Creatine is creatine. It's in fish and it's in meat, but it's in concentrated forms. You overdo it, like you're middle of the night, you wake up and your legs are cramping and everything else. So you got to be careful, and it'll fucking kick the shit out of your liver. So it's all about, balance, right? I got to drink more water with creatine than without it. Like these basic little facts.
Yeah.
So HMB is like creatine, but on its own, it doesn't do shit. But leucine, which is one of the branched chain amino acids, which is really one of all the BCAAs, that's your money amino acid, right? But HMB by itself, not much. Vitamin D by itself, good. You want vitamin D, that's fine. And leucine by itself with other branched chain amino acids with a regular amount of protein, whether it's whey or plant or whatever, fine. But when you take HMB and you add vitamin D, and what HMB and vitamin D at certain levels, what that does to leucine within the branched chain amino acids, it's like, right? And that's partly why I think my numbers are a little bit higher than normal. Not a lot, but they should be going down, right?
Yeah.
Without the growth hormone, without any of that shit. I don't take not once, nothing. But when you come on a Sunday and you watch what we do and you go, oh, I get it. But then, right? I mean, it's every Sunday, every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday, every Friday, over and over and over in week 1 and week 2 and month 2 and year 10, right? This is consistency. Consistency is one of the 11 laws in my book, The Big Picture. The more you do, the better you get. And if you like when I got sick, when I lost 25 pounds and I couldn't get out of bed and all I did was throw up all day and I couldn't stand up straight and I looked like a drunken sailor on a cruise ship in a hurricane. I got shingles inside my right ear, and just inside the ear there are a lot of nerves in there that control sight, breathing, taste, and balance. And also, since they're facial nerves, the fifth, sixth, and seventh facial nerves. I think it could be the fourth, fifth, and sixth, the sixth, seventh, eighth. Well, you have to Google that one. But so these nerves, when you get shingles in there, they fry the nerves. And a nerve, unlike bones or skin or tendons, there's an unpredictable healing time frame. Like, oh, bone, okay, 6 weeks. Skin, whatever, you scab forms in your. But nerves, sometimes nerves don't heal at all, and they're permanently damaged. And a lot of people who get Ramsay-Hunt syndrome have permanent nerve damage. Like, I know people who get it. And I had Bell's palsy, and this eye didn't blink, and my face, it looked like it was melting. And for me, fortunately, that only lasted a month. But I remember going to see the brain doc. You have to go to it's kind of an ENT, like an otorhinolaryngologist or something. I'm not quite sure the type of doctor. But they said, yeah, I mean, everybody's got facial anomalies. I said, do you know what I do for a living? Hi, everybody. You know what I mean? So, that was, aesthetics is one thing, but I could not walk in a straight line without wobbling because my all the balance is going on inside of your ears. So when you can't balance and you can't walk, that makes you nauseous. And when you're nauseous, you're vomiting. And when you're vomiting, you can't eat. So I would sleep 12 hours a day. And then I would just lay in bed, and then of course I had tinnitus on a level of 1 to 10. It was a 30, just like double ear ringing 24/7, bright light, dark rooms, any kind of weird anomalies. It was, and it wouldn't go away. It went on and on and on for weeks and weeks and weeks and months and months and months. And it slowly, over the course of a year, began to improve enough for me to be able to start to work. I couldn't drive. I mean, when I would pull up to a stop sign, I would look right, and my brain would go, wait a minute. Okay, we can look at that thing. And then I'd go, oh, no, I got to look left now. And my brain would go, hold on. So, it began to heal over time. I remember trying to go skiing before I was able to, and my balance was crap. And I ran into a tree. I thought I broke my femur, but fortunately, I just had a contusion the size of a school bus. It went all the way down my leg. So, I was just determined to get back. And thank God for me, I had the right lifestyle to be able to fight really hard to be able to get myself back. But it took it. So that was October of 2017. And still to this day, I have little tiny bouts of vestibular issues. If I push too hard through a workout, or I don't get enough sleep, or I go from a dark room to a bright space, I get this kind of thing that goes on inside of my head. I can look right and left and not have any issues there. But what happens is it's also connected to the Epstein-Barr virus. So Epstein-Barr and the vestibular hypofunction, they happen together. So not only does the shaking happen, but I almost get narcoleptic. So a lot of time and effort, energy, and physical therapy. I would show up at the physical therapist, and there were a lot of guys that were from Afghanistan and Iraq that got blown up. Guys with missing limbs, guys that had PTSD, and we all were suffering from this thing where you would walk in a straight line like you were, you're doing this stuff with your nose, like you're getting pulled over for being drunk, and looking at like a whole wall of birthday wrapping paper with bright light on it. Like that was just too much. So it's all sensory stuff. And then, it took 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Here we are all these years later. And now it's 95% better. It's not normal. It never probably will be, but there are little tiny gains. Like I'll go a couple of weeks feeling normal-ish, but there were times back in the day where it was always on a level of 1 to 10, a 2, 3, 4, 5. It was a 5. It was really a rough day to get through the day. It's never been a 7, 8, 9, 10 where I'm in bed and I'm vomiting and I can't even see straight. So the moral of the story is, I mean, how badly do you want to come back from something, and I had to work really, really hard and I still do. I mean, I have slack lines and I climb ropes. I'm doing ninja courses, and meditation was the only thing I had. All the tinctures and all the potions and all the king's horses and men couldn't put me back together again. So I had to just sit quietly and take deep breaths just to kind of mitigate the pain and the anguish that I was going through. And those are practices. Like I don't stress out nearly as much as I used to. I just can't. I can't afford to, because it was Tom Petty dying. An accidental overdose. I had friends that were at the Vegas shooting who watched people get shot next to them. Like they're having a conversation with a guy, bullet in the chest, running for their lives. Like wow. And then I was going through contract stuff with Beachbody that didn't go well. And I left the company, and it was same company 20 years. And that all happened like within a month, and I couldn't handle that stress, and boom. But I'm in a much better place in every possible way as a result. So it turned out to be good for me, but for a lot of other people who aren't willing to do that hard work and come back, it's
right.
Still.
Wow. I mean, so that could be brought on by just having too much stress.
Well, shingles is stress related. If you had chicken pox, which is a lot of us, then that chicken pox virus is in there. And as an adult, and anybody who's had shingles, it is excruciatingly painful.
I had it too.
Hot poker, but if it's in your ear, man.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Right. Yeah. And when I went to the hospital, when I was just vomiting, and I thought I had a stroke. I didn't know what it was. So we took me in to the hospital. And then there was the doc in the ER, right? Just like Googling it. Like, oh, you have something called Ramsay-Hunt syndrome. Oh, thank you. Yeah. It's not curable, but it's manageable. That's terrific. So.
And you basically healed yourself just out of will and desire.
I had therapy, and just to get me up and dressed and in the car and then driving in the car from here to the physical therapy, it was like a war. I would just hold on. You know what I mean? It was so brutal. And I get into the physical, and then I'd be so exhausted when I got home. It felt like I felt like a 100-year-old invalid, and my skin was hanging off my face. 25 pounds came off me in like 3 weeks. I couldn't eat, I'm just lying in bed.
Terrible.
So yeah. And, remember the first time going to the gym trying to do push-ups. I think I did like 12, and I was like wasted. I could do like 3 pull-ups,
You're saying it like most people can't even do 3 pull-ups now.
Yeah, I know. But my face was still there. But yeah. So, but better than ever now, Not perfect, but better than ever.
Yeah, don't you say progress? What is it that you said? Hold on, I have it written here somewhere. Oh yeah, like it was like progress.
No, it's not.
Practice makes better.
Progress makes perfect.
I think you said practice makes better, and I was like, oh, I really like that line that he said.
I said that. That was me.
Yeah, maybe it was some other fitness guru. I don't know, but I thought it was you.
I thought it was the old Steve Martin joke where he says, I learned something from my great uncle. He was very bright, very amazing, he was wonderful, rambling. He said, Steve, always, I'll never forget it. It was always, no, it was never, never forget it. A trash basket in your car. Because if it ever gets full, you can just throw it out the window.
I'm telling you, have another career out there. You could be doing impersonations at birthday parties.
I'll do my Columbo. Oh, that's the one.
That is a good one.
I'll do my Bruce Springsteen. Hey Tony. Bruce is it's my Bruce. Yeah. No time for Bruce Springsteen stories because we're already pushing the 2+ hour mark here wherever we are.
We're way beyond.
We're way beyond. But I will leave you with this, man. People say, hey, what are the 3 keys? And there's not 3 keys. There's 50 keys. You know what I mean? But for me, if anybody was like, how do you get, because, you and I have been talking here for a while, and how do I maintain sort of this youthful, upbeat, handsome appearance other than the fact that I'm using the right gel in my hair and a little castor oil. Nothing like a little castor oil for the hair. I'm telling you, that's your magic thing. But it's purpose plan. It's purpose, plan, and accountability, man. Figure out what you're doing and why you're here. And if it's not your main job, make it a hobby, and that hobby can turn into the career, which will give you the joy and happiness you've always wanted. And make a plan, you know what I mean? Like, figure out what you're going to do. Reverse engineer things. I reverse engineer everything. Like, you don't just think I'm going to climb Kilimanjaro and then get on a plane and go to Tanzania and hope it's all going to turn out. Like, see yourself at the top of the mountain. See this stuff the day before. Look at Google what the temperatures are at certain altitudes. Like, what are you on day 1? Who are you flying with? What are you going to pack? Like, there's all this stuff that you do. So when you finally show up at Kilimanjaro, you're probably going to get to the top because you're conditioned, you got the right stuff, you talk to the right people, and you've seen yourself there, right? You've seen photos of other people there. You interview folks who there's no way they should have done it, but they did it. And then you go there with confidence, right? And that's that planning things. I reverse engineer everything now. You know what I mean? And then accountability, like who's in your tribe? Who are the people that you love that they're going to be there to support you and help you and help you figure some things out so that you can end up having the life and the career and the friendships that you've always wanted. And that's it. You know, I mean, it's in my book, The Big Picture. And I know you're going to ask this if you want to know more about Tony Horton, like the Paragon experience. We haven't talked much about that. I think we're going to try to get you to speak at my Paragon experience here in October. But all things Tony Horton are Tony Horton Life, TonyHortonLife.com. That's it. So
I was actually going to ask you. First of all, I am going to speak there. I don't say a maybe. I'm for sure. I am speaking at that event. Sounds spectacular. I'm so honored, and I would be honored. I am honored to be involved and incorporate into anything that you do. Oh, you got it. You got it.
That's you.
He's looking at the link to my TED Talk, The Secret to Getting Anything You Want in Life. And let me know. Leave a comment, by the way, when you watch that.
I will. I'm sure I'll say something like fabulous.
Yes, or not.
Best talk ever.
Maybe you will. Maybe you won't. And well, listen. I think I've taken up enough of your time. It's been many hours. And by the way, lots of amazing nuggets of information, tangible things that people can actually integrate into their lives. We know about your power life. We know about tonal. We know about the past with P90X. We know about your routines, your habits, your veganism. I don't really think there's really anything else to kind of uncover right now. Is there?
I'm 5.
Oh, Power of 4.
The Power of 4, the new program. Quickly about that, and then you probably have children out there that are in the pool. They're looking for lunch or dinner or breakfast. But the Power of 4 is my first ever all Tony Horton program. We've had about 2,000. I think I did bring this up. The 2,000 people and I helped co-create these 25 workouts that will be in the final program. And we're editing and adding graphics and timers and music, and that's going to, another couple steps. We hope to have the Power of 4 out into the community, out into the world by the holidays. And here it is. Well, you and I shot. I don't know when you're going to air this, but we're at the end of August here. But we're in the right place at the right time. I mean, distribution and marketing are really the last hurrah, and we're in constant conversations with the parent company that makes my supplements will be assisting there, I think, and other people, a lot of real experts that really want to see this thing succeed, because we think that these 25 routines are a laugh riot, but they're super hard, and there's lots of really cool options for people of all shapes and sizes. And we look, P90X, millions and millions and millions of copies. If I can sell 500,000 of these plus, there's no reason why we can't pull that off on our own. We don't have a big old company like Beachbody to do it, but I got a phenomenal team of people that love it and it's had a great impact on them. So it's not just some strange thing that they're going to go, oh, okay, that's cool. That's a cute idea. Let me help you. Now they've experienced it and they're just madly in love with what it's done for them. And they want to be able to help me share that with the world. So look for that coming soon, streaming to you.
I can't wait. I want to do the program. And, I can't wait. I mean, and by the way, you are the P90X, so you may not be Beachbody, but you could take the Beachbody, you could take the Tony out of Beachbody, but the Beachbody, it doesn't work the same. It doesn't really work the same, but the bottom line is you are P90X. And so, it sold that well for other reasons besides being Beachbody. It was the personality behind it. It was a super effective program. There was no magic pill. It was hard work. It was effective. And I am sure that your new program is, going to be just as amazing.
Well, we hope so. And, Beachbody, that most companies would have, because initially it didn't do well. I mean, oh, wow, I'm going to work out an hour plus every day and I got to eat right. I mean, you know what I mean? But they're the ones that did a brilliant job marketing it to folks. And a lot of it had to do with the before and after pictures and videos that mom and pops and, your sister, brother, aunt, uncle, mom and dad were sending to us. And we just put that in the show and that sold itself that way because people were getting results. But, we already have minimum 50 testimonials off the chain, tear-jerking, amazing transformations. And that's only the 50 that we know of.
Wow.
I mean, there are more than that. So it's just a matter of kind of going through all that footage and seeing what to use. But yeah, so it's cool. It's cool to do everything from scratch on my own with my wife, and we'll see.
We'll see. We'll definitely see. But people love real stories. People love that stuff, and I think real stories, real results. I'm in. I'm gonna be streaming it. Sign me up. Sign me up,
baby. Yeah, and maybe if you're nice, I'll invite you to the house and I'll put you through a plyometric routine. But don't plan on sitting for the next 3 days if you show up for that thing.
I'm planning on it. I mean, listen, I'm just waiting to get your address so I can just show up. I thought that was a given already.
Well, you got the phone numbers, you got the email. We have means of communicating. The address is the last hurrah. You know what I mean? If I see a drone over the house, I'm like, that's Jennifer. What? Leave me alone!
Oh my gosh, so you're hilarious. Okay, so so now we know where to find you. Say it again for the people who missed it.
TonyHortonLife.com. All the products, the Power Force sign up is there. By the way, if this goes out to the world, you can catch that last month of beta and really see what's been going on. And there's a phenomenal community of people. We've kicked out the boneheads and the naysayers and the finger pointers and the haters. They don't last in there 10 minutes because people gang up on people who just want to bitch and moan and live small, little, tiny, fragile, pathetic lives. Those people don't last a second. You know why? Because they get the instant L stamp on their pathetic, sad forehead. Right. So, yeah, but everybody, it's just amazing. It's like a love fest in there. It's really incredible.
I'm just laughing because it's been so long. I'm like, it's like, this is like a marathon. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast again. I was going to say, please come back, but I think we have enough footage.
We've covered enough for the first 10 years. We'll do another one in 10.
Exactly. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you, Tony. You're the best.
Jennifer, I enjoyed the snot on.
Habits and hustle, time to get it rolling. Stay up on the grind, don't stop, keep it going. Habits and hustle, from nothing into something. All out, hosted by Jennifer Cohen. Visionaries, tune in, you can get to know them. Be inspired, this is your moment. Excuses, we ain't having that. The Habits and Hustle podcast, powered by Habit Nest.